Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Tonight's commentary is not what I had planned. As I had told you yesterday, I was going to talk about missing people in Tennessee, but I will get around to that content this week. But when I get in deep thought about something, there is usually a reason that something is on my mind. And usually, when something is on my mind to where I have to go look up things, Google things, replay things over and over, it's because there's something wrong with what I have heard. And I will say it was a year ago this month, January, excuse me, when I had got that same weird feeling and I went looking for something in the wee hours and I found what I needed to find to prove that someone had been lying to me. And that was January of 25, and I hadn't had contact with the person a year ago this month. So I'm in the same mode to where I'm replaying everything that I've heard pertaining to Nancy Guthrie, who said what, who didn't say what, and I knew that something wasn't right. And as I said, I have not made any accusations against anyone pertaining to her disappearance, but I may be on board to say that it is possibly that it is personal. And as I said before, yesterday, if I'm wrong, then I am wrong. I'm going to tell you why I know that something is not right. I'm going to play somebody else's commentary, Deception Detective, and I'm also going to tell you what I just discovered on the Pima County Sheriff's Department Facebook page. I'd like to say this directly to Chris Nanos. You have been doing what most people have done, such as Savannah, her brother, sister, other people. You're watching everything that's being said. I'd like to know, why did you take down the interview of you talking to the reporters one night? Yes, Queen just looked and I can't find it. You know why you removed it? It's because what you said during the interview. You said they saw her inside of her house because the girl asked you 2 times. The lady asked you 2 times because she wanted to make sure she was hearing what you said. And now the Queen goes to the Facebook page, and I have scrolled all the way back to February, even January 31st, and there's nothing up there. There's no interview that I could find where that lady was asking you about Annie and Tommaso seeing Nancy into the house. Where is that interview, sir? I've gone into Google search and I can't pull it up because you removed it. Why did you remove it? Because you have been a distraction ever since this case started. And I feel that there is some funny bullshit going on. But see, this goes back to what I have said about true crime. You can't expect anything good to come from something bad. And that is what you have here pertaining to the disappearance and obviously a homicide of Nancy Guthrie. The devil went in and took her out and unalived her for whatever reason. And everybody that's coming into the picture, they are feeding off of the nonsense and the madness. That is exactly what is happening. That is why we're getting tidbits of your past behavior and demeanor and the lies you told to get a job at Pima County. Let's listen to this information and you're going to see why I put the title up pertaining to Nancy Guthrie. Annie, what time did you call Savannah Guthrie to tell her when your mother went missing? Tucson, Arizona is 3 hours behind Eastern Standard Time, which New York and myself, we're on the same time, Knoxville, Tennessee. So I want you all to listen very carefully what I'm saying. 3 hours behind. So I want you to listen to what Savannah said to Hoda Kotb and see where there is some bullshit. This is why sometimes you have to keep going back and replay, because something is not right.
Hopefully, I haven't thought that she was involved in her mother's abduction, but I couldn't say the same for either of her siblings. And the more I see of Savannah, the more I think she's actually in denial about that possibility, whether they're guilty or not, which is why she's resorting to emotional manipulation to stem the speculation about them rather than just disproving it. But after seeing this new Today Show interview, I think even that opinion might be charitable. In other words, I think she might literally be covering for them as an accessory after the fact. And I know that might seem like a big leap, but just listen to this. Let's start watching.
We did your mom went missing. Tell me what you were doing and what happened. Well, Mike, I'd given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Carson's. So we had a beautiful fun night together, and then I came home, and really I just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi and putting down our stuff.
Did you hear that? She sent her husband on a trip. She was out with her children. They had a fun time. But she said fun night. Stay woke, everybody. We had a fun night. So basically she's saying that when she came home, she and the husband and the children are all bumping into one another. The husband went away. Now I'm really starting to get messed up in the brain now because I'm thinking about something that I didn't never even think about. Where was everybody at while all this was going on out in Tucson, Arizona? So she's with her kids at this Carson's place. Don't know what that is. Husband went away for a tennis trip. And they're bumping heads going into the house. Kids are running around. But the specific thing that everyone needs to focus on is she said night. Well, this doesn't make any sense because allegedly it's the AM, same day, when we have someone meddling with a camera outside of Nancy's door. After 2, we've got somebody on a camera, but Google didn't record it, allegedly. We have church members calling Annie to say, hey, your mom didn't show up for church, which is these people gathering in a house to watch church on a live stream. Stay woke now. This was supposed to be about what, 11:10 a.m. So this is Sunday, February 1st. She did not show up to the church gathering at someone's house. You all don't get over to her house, Nancy's house, Annie and Tommaso, until almost 12 noon. Meaning, you've called no one to say, hey, the church ladies called us and mom didn't show up. So you say you discovered Nancy's home vacant before noon. Right after noon, you call 911. Well, this is where this is a problem for Queen. I'm listening to Savannah speak in this interview, and she's talking about nighttime, having a good time at night with her children. So, Annie, when did you call your sister? When did you call Cameron? There is something very wrong. This is why they always tell you that everything you need to know is right in front of you. And I always say that on this network. If you pay attention, the truth is sitting right in front of you. So this is where this is bullshit because I've listened to a few people who are saying this about Savannah in this interview. This may be a form of manipulation on Savannah's part to cover for her sister and Tommaso and her brother because everybody's been talking bad about them, number one. She wants to clear up any innuendos. She's appalled, she's upset. But where you slipped up, sweetheart, is when you said, we had a good night. So that means what? 6:30, 7:30, 5:30, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. What are we saying, Savannah Guthrie? Because you're saying I'm bumping heads coming in the door with my kids and my husband. I'm returning from being out with the kids. Husband is returning from his tennis trip, and Annie calls. So, Annie, I'm going to ask you, what time did you call your sister to tell her your mother is missing? Because this is bizarre to me. Now, you all can argue all day about why she shouldn't have called this time or that time. She didn't call Savannah immediately. Yes. But Savannah is saying it's what, dark 30. But she doesn't give a specific time of when Annie called, but nonetheless, it's suspect because we're not talking about I'm hurrying around, scurrying, trying to run over to the house to see where mom is. I get over there, I don't see her, I panic, I call 911. Well, at some point after calling 911, you should have been calling your sister, you should have been calling Cameron. And this is why someone questioned Savannah's response when Annie called and she said, what's wrong? What's wrong only means a few things. Number one, what's wrong means you and I don't talk. What's wrong mean you're calling me in the AM. Number three, what's wrong means you're calling me in the dead of night. Which is it? Well.
Well, we just, I'd given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Parsons. So we had a beautiful fun night together, and then I came home, and really I just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi and putting down our stuff, and the kids are running around. And my sister called me, and I said, is everything okay? And she said, no. She said, Mom's missing. And I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, she's gone. And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, call 911. She's like, I did. We called them. They're here. But we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there was a stretcher and they took her out the back.
The ultimate sign of a hoaxer is knowledge beyond the facts, like how Andy and Tommaso somehow knew that Savannah didn't know where Nancy was. Remember, she didn't say they called her and asked her if Nancy was with her or if she knew where Nancy was or if she'd heard anything. They called her and informed her Nancy was gone after calling 911 and even waiting for 911 to arrive. Now, is that proof that Andy and Tommaso are hoaxers? No. After all, in statement analysis, we need multiple signs of deception before we can make that conclusion. And this is just hearsay. After all, it's all according to Savannah. But the fact that she doesn't seem at all concerned or suspicious about their unfounded knowledge is what really concerns me. She's constantly telling the public how no detail is too small, yet glaringly suspicious stuff like this gets dismissed out of hand. Even worse, if you insist that it's important anyway, you get called cruel and irresponsible. Now, that could be explained by denial. As I said in the intro, Savannah doesn't want to believe that her beloved sister Annie and brother-in-law Tommaso could have done something wicked to her mother, so she chooses to ignore any evidence that might suggest it. And even though it's misguided, it's totally normal and understandable. I've done multiple videos about the cognitive dissonance I think she and Sheriff Nanos are experiencing about the family. But here's the thing, some of the stuff Savannah says in this interview goes way beyond simply ignoring suspicions about the family. And a great example of it is coming up, so let's keep listening.
She said, Mom's missing. And I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, she's gone. And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, call 911. She's like, I did. We called them. They're here. But we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there's a stretcher and they took her out the back, but her phone was there and her purse was there and all her things, and it just didn't make any sense. So, Annie and Tommy had already called all the hospitals, but then I'm like, I'm going to call the hospital. So then I start calling hospitals, and the police were there and talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos and disbelief.
Within hours, Savannah was making the long journey home to Tucson. She saw Annie and Cam when you got to their house. Tell me about that moment.
Just disbelief and hugging each other, and I think we were on the phone with the sheriff and trying to, really make clear us. I mean, from the very early moments, Andy and Tommy were saying this isn't that case that you are used to where someone wanders off. She can't wander off. My mom, she was in tremendous pain. Her back was very bad. She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off. And the doors were propped open.
Yeah.
And there was blood on the front doors. And the ring camera had been yanked off. And so we were saying, this is
Do something.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
This isn't, something is very wrong here.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually think there's a lot of things wrong here.
Hello,
let's go
everybody.
through them
Thank
one by
you.
one. First
Hey,
of all,
Sienna.
whether she's guilty or not,
Okay.
it is suspicious that Annie called the police and every hospital in town before it occurred to her to call her siblings. And even when she did call them, she was only calling them to inform them that their mother was gone. She had zero curiosity if the mother was with them or if they had heard anything. Second of all, it's suspicious that Savannah doesn't find that suspicious. Just like knowledge beyond the facts, lack of curiosity is a sign of a hoaxer, because the hoaxer already knows what happened. So feigning curiosity doesn't even occur to them in the first place. And if the truth is incriminating, they don't actually want to get to it, so they don't act as curious as they claim to be. Of course, if Savannah knows deep down that her sister is involved, but she's in denial about it, that also makes sense that she doesn't want to actually get to the truth. On that same note, it's also suspicious that the public Savannah has repeatedly and consistently asked for help is only just now getting viral clues about the crime scene. Savannah knew since day one that the back doors were propped open, yet we're only hearing about it now, 2 months later, in a network exclusive 2-part interview in between ad breaks. You'd think if she actually wanted the best chances possible of getting her mother home alive, she would have released that information right away in the most public forum possible. Finally, I really don't like how fast and loose Savannah is being with the facts. Remember, this interview was ostensibly to get help finding her missing mother, yet she called the doorbell camera a ring camera. I thought it was a Nest camera. She also said that Nancy's phone, medicine, and everything was left behind. But how could she possibly know that? Was everything in Nancy's house inventoried, and was she not wearing anything when she was taken out? I get that's an expression and that people misspeak about brands, but still, if the point of this interview is to get accurate information out there to find her mother, I would have expected her to be more meticulous. And the thing is, I don't think that's the top priority. I think the top priority of this interview is actually to run cover for her family. We've already heard Savannah talk about how thorough Annie.
Gonna stop there. Deception detective is The source of this information was uploaded a day ago. As I said to you all before, my discerning spirit got me up to do this live because my spirit was telling me, Queen, there's something not right. And as I said to you all before, that whenever I have to go into Google and keep re-listening to content over and over, it's because there's something in the content that is possibly fraudulent. And as I said before, when I get this type of feeling, I'm usually not wrong. Because it's the same feeling I got, as I said, a year ago when I was utterly deceived by someone. And I had the same feeling to where I started going into Google, looking up things, and I found exactly what I was looking for. And it goes back to the old saying, seek and ye shall find. And there's something off here. And as my father used to say, if you want to get to the truth, let a person talk. So Savannah went to NBC, her home, to speak about the disappearance of her mother, but she left out details such as a timeline. I was out at this time with the kids. I came back about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock. The phone rang. It was my sister. You don't get any of those details. But the one thing where she messed up is when she said, we had a fun night. That told the story right there, if you were listening. You had a fun night in New York City, but yet your mother has been missing since the wee hours. And your sister allegedly didn't get over to the house until 12 o'clock and got the information almost an hour beforehand. So then you got to follow the yellow brick road. Come on with it, Queen. Somebody calls Annie's phone at about 11:10 a.m. to say your mother's not here. So that means it took you almost 50 minutes to get over to your mother's house, and you allegedly only live about less than 10 miles away. So had you been sleeping in? Long night? You and Tommaso were sleeping in, had a long night? I'm just saying. And then you get there. I don't know what you two were doing. I just know something's not right with this commentary from your sister to the news. Because I'm trying to understand why it could take you hours to call her, to tell her that her own mother's missing. Help me understand. So then I have to ask this question. Well, if it took you hours to call Savannah, well, what time did you call Cameron? Because your sister told on herself when she said, we had a fun night. And usually we don't say nighttime unless it was probably dark. Am I correct? If it's still light outside, what would we say? Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Malfunction. All right, everybody. As I was saying, there's something not right with this commentary. So, Annie, what time did you call your sister and brother to tell them that their mother was missing? Did you wait an hour, 2 hours, 3? The fact is, Arizona is 3 hours from New York. So at some point, at least after noon, you should have been notifying your brother and your sister to tell them that their mom was missing. But yet your sister gives this interview and she's saying that she was out with her children and they had a fun night, which would lead me to believe it was possibly dark when she entered her home and bumped into her husband, who was also coming in from his boys' trip. Something's amiss. I've tried to stay very neutral pertaining to accusing anyone of this said crime, but there's something not right. Now we're going to go to my second reason why there's something not right, besides what Savannah told Hoda Kata in the interview. I decided to Google tonight because I don't like to come on the live without doing a little research when I'm going to ask a question. So I asked Google about sharing information on the cameras, Nest and Ring cameras. And yes, you can share with others via the phone through the app. You have that access to share. And also you can give out your passcode, whatever, which they said they don't recommend doing that. So I'm going to ask this question here to all 3 of her children. You know that your mother is living alone. She can barely walk. That is what you told us during this interview. She could barely walk to the mailbox on a given day. She would do good to do 1 day a week to walk to the mailbox. Why didn't you share camera footage with your mother? And I get it. Some people are private. They don't want people watching them to see what they're doing, who they're talking to. But you could at least say, we like to have access to the outside cameras. Why not? Why didn't she have a life alert in case she fell, got dizzy, had a stroke, had a heart attack? She could always push the button. Nancy would possibly be alive today had she had a life alert around her neck. Come on with it, Quinn. Because it would have automatically went into the police department and they would have sent police and fire trucks to her address. It is almost like there's an eye in the sky pertaining to Nancy Guthrie missing, possibly deceased, as if, as I said, this was an intentional homicide. Somebody knew too much because allegedly the outside camera was tampered with. I don't know if it was the one on the back door or the strobe lights outside. This just sounds ridiculous to me. That all this rambling going on and there's nobody noticing anything. You know why nobody's noticing anything? Because she was already in the bed and nobody had access to her cameras. Had Cameron, Savannah, and Annie and Tommaso had the app and was sharing motions, movement, she possibly be alive today. But that might be a part of the ploy. Could it be that somebody had access to her cameras? I'm just wondering because I smell a rat. I'm trying to understand the motivation of telling me about somebody can't move, can't walk, but you don't even think to sign them up for a life alert. You don't say, hey, mom, you need a life alert. Just in case you fall, you slip. We need access to your cameras. I'm not trying to spy on you, but we just need to make sure, nobody's creeping around, walking around, nobody's doing any fuddy-duddy type business. And that's why this is all too convenient. We get all this information about this wonderful place in, Alice in Wonderland, how wonderful Tucson is, and the area she lived didn't have crime, and we learned that allegedly she didn't lock her doors. And I just think all this information is so convenient, and maybe they're trying to spin the story without spinning the story. Is anybody listening? How convenient is it to tell us she left her doors unlocked? And you also have to remember who the messenger is of all this good news. The only person that's been spinning the story is Annie and Tommaso. And they have yet to speak to the news to even give their version of what happened on that fateful morning when they arrived. Don't you find that strange? You all didn't get together as soon as Savannah touched down to say, hey, let's go to your former employer and do an interview and tell them what we noticed and saw and heard February 1st. Instead, we get all these IG videos by Savannah. Then she tells us in this interview that every word she wrote, the brother and sister corroborated. But yet some of you believe, no, that's not true. It sounds made up, kind of like what we heard in Silence of the Lambs, kind of like word for word. Something's not right here. And yes, Savannah, I do believe you did this interview to try to get people to not focus on your sister and her husband. I do believe that. Because in the end, you don't really know what happened in Tucson, Arizona, February 1st or January 31st. You only know what these people are telling you. And like I said, I'm not here to point the fingers at those two, but something is not sitting right with me after now re-listening to Savannah's retake of February 1st. There's some bullshit here. Because it's too convenient. Everything about this case is just too convenient. Mom goes out for the evening. She comes back via being dropped off. Sheriff does an interview saying she was seen inside, which means what? They were in there. They watched her go in. Then when you go to Google, it recaps. Tommaso sat outside and watched her go in. Huh. Well, which is it? You watched her go in or you walked her in? And it'd be a shame to find out you walked her in and propped open some doors and also passed the polygraph. Lord, please don't make it so. So I'm asking Annie, why did you wait so long to call your sister? Don't you think she would want to know that her mom is missing? So then we got to ask, what time did Savannah touch down? What time did she get a flight to Tucson, Arizona? Does she really believe that these two are not involved in harming her mother? Because as the deception detector says, it's just easy to think that. No, they would never do that. They took good care of her. They took care of her. I don't know if I would agree with that because we still haven't gotten to the bottom of that Adult Protective Services card being at her door. And I just refuse to believe it has something to do with her friend calling. They wouldn't call Adult Protective Services just because she didn't answer the phone. They can't get over there to her anyway. It might take weeks or a month before those people go investigate any type of improprieties done. Stay woke, everybody. Are we going to find that something else was going on with Nancy Guthrie? So somebody verify the Adult Protective Services card and we can debunk any wild theories. When was a call made to them? February 1st, January 28th, January 15th, January 11th? I'm just asking. Then we hear that her husband took a trip, Savannah. Where did he go? There's too many coincidences with this case. Very strange, strange, strange. Mom goes missing. She's almost 85 years of age. No life alert, necklace or bracelet or nothing. Leaves her doors unlocked. Got the cameras because she wanted to watch wildlife. And then you tell us doors are open 2 months later, which makes no sense. Why tell us now? And then you're only repeating what your sister told you. And some people do believe these two are involved, perhaps. And I think it's just still interesting that we don't have no suspect. Flyers flying around different states. They've got billboards put up, even going to put them up in Spanish. And still, nobody has called in to claim $1 million+ dollars. Make that make sense. Nobody has looked at this person and said, that's my husband, that's my boyfriend, that's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my neighbor, that's my coworker. Hey boy, what you doing with that mask on? Like they said, put it on a billboard, see what happens. The picture of the kidnapper. I listened to Savannah and I'm trying to dissect every word in the interview, trying to see if there is deception, if there's knowledge, if there's complicity. And then we go back to the kidnap game that she and her brother and sister played with Nancy and one of their relatives when they were children. And you have to admit that's bizarre as well. What are the odds? 40+ years later, they'd be playing the game minus the children. Say, whoa. You see, most robbers want to get in and get out and get what they're going to get. They don't go to the scene of a place with a full backpack. How are you going to fill it up when the bag is already full? Because as some girl said under a video I watched a few weeks ago, when this YouTuber was talking about cameras on his in his house or something, and somebody he thought was in his kitchen or something crazy. He thought somebody was in his kitchen. And the girl commented under his video, she said, whoever was in your kitchen wasn't coming to steal anything. Man, I had got chills up my spine when I read that because I thought of Nancy Guthrie. She said, nobody's breaking in your house at night while you're there to steal anything. That says all you need to, it speaks on its own, does it not? Dark 30 and somebody's breaking in your house knowing that you're in there. You got the TV on, lights on, and they're going to break in your house. And even with this Nancy Guthrie case, even if she didn't have a nightlight on, any lamps on, the person knew that there was a human being in there, and they also knew it was a woman in there. You know why I know they knew? Because they went prepared. That's how I know. If you were out trying to break into a house that you thought was an Airbnb, a summer home, why are you going with a full backpack? Hell, why you even got a mask on? Gloves. You don't have a criminal record. Bet nobody thought about that. You don't have a criminal record. You can leave your fingerprints because the fingerprints have been ran or something's been ran, DNA, whichsoever. And they ain't coming back to nothing. Maybe the answer to this homicide is sitting right in front of us. This boogeyman knows these family members personally. Because it doesn't make any sense to contact somebody at dark 30 about their own mother missing. You're not doing anything but talking to the police and standing outside, I'm sure. Because at some point they're going to tell you, well, we need you to step outside, ma'am, sir. We need to rope off this house. So while they're roping off the house, Annie, what are you doing? Help the queen understand. What are you doing all this time? Twirling your hair? And as this detective guy says, this deception detective, how do you know what was taken and not taken, Savannah? This is why I always tell people, listen to the details because the answer is in the details. That's all we heard for over a month. Botched robbery, botched robbery. It's a botched robbery. It's a botched robbery. But yet Banfield tells us the house was left on standstill. And so far, everything she has said pertaining to her sources panned out. Even though I don't agree with her telling us about Tommaso being the perpetrator, because now they're debunking that. And she probably don't need to keep making videos talking about what her source is saying. But she don't want to end up in court being sued by these people. But something is off. Something is way off. Took my kids to Carson's. Got back that night. Bumped into my husband. We're coming in at the same time. You know what I was thinking? And God forgive me for what I'm getting ready to say. Oh, Lord Jesus. I didn't even know the husband had went somewhere for a trip. Where was that? In state, out of state, up the coast? Where? Has everything been verified on everybody's phone as far as conversations? Everybody checking the hospitals? Because that's odd too. Savannah decides to go backtrack and call the same places that the sister called. Was all that verified, Sheriff Nanos? Do you know? Because that somebody said he ain't gonna know anything anyway. Let's just say hypothetical. Somebody was having problems at NBC. Maybe they thought they were going to lose their job. Maybe they heard some whispering. Just play along with me. And they said, what would be a way for me to secure my job with this company? A tragedy. But my mind kept saying, no, Queen, no. They would have got some proof she left New York, made it all the way to Tucson, Arizona, or somewhere close by, hired somebody to kidnap her mom. She's wealthy. What motive would she have? Attention seeking. Because I got a funny feeling all is not what it seems with these siblings. Because as I said, when I listen to other people's commentary, it sticks with me. And somebody said it the other day. Why was Savannah shocked when the sister called? You don't even know what she's calling you about. And what did I say just a few minutes ago? You're only shocked if you're calling at an oddball time, such as the AM, number one. Late night, number two. And number three, we rarely talk. Is there anybody out there paying attention? Savannah, do you and Annie talk? Did you all talk before Nancy went missing? What is your actual relationship with your sister, Savannah Guthrie, you and Annie? What is your relationship with Cameron? Now, in all these photographs we've seen, you seem very cozy with Nancy, kissing her all the time, kissing her on the face. You seem affectionate to your mother, towards your mother. But were the other siblings affectionate towards Nancy Guthrie? Because I don't see any pictures of Annie kissing Nancy. Cameron either. Lots of pictures of Savannah kissing Nancy. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. What's wrong? Damn. Hey, Travis. I just think that's an odd thing to say to somebody as soon as the line picks up. What's wrong? I keep trying to tell everybody, sometimes we overlook things in stories. We don't pay attention to pictures and photographs and videos. But sometimes the answer is sitting right in front of you. You just don't want to accept it. And as I told myself, I don't want to think about anybody in the family unaliving Nancy because what I have to tell myself, well, what would be the reason? I already know the reason because I'm not a dodo bird. I know what man and woman is capable of. And I know desperate people do desperate things. And there comes a time when people change. As I talk to you all about that all the time, that who you knew in high school, those people don't exist anymore. You're not the same person from high school, are you? Are you still walking around, bebopping, sitting in parking lots on cars, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer? Just asking. There's something amiss here. And I hope I'm wrong. But there's something not right with this conversation and this interview. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, 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 ring. Savannah says, "What's wrong?" So I have to ask myself, is that her normal response every time Annie calls? Ding, ding, ding. No, you're fine, Travis. I don't know if it's going cold or not, honey. But I smell bullshit. And my spirit was bothering me tonight. I had no plans to jump on live. I said, I'll wait until tomorrow. But I started listening to other people's commentary. And that's when my spirit said, go to Google. Get the timeline. Get the timeline of when this woman went missing. And something ain't right. Why do these people not have their phones connected to her Nest and Ring cameras? Make it make sense. You are all the way on the other side of the country. You can't see anything but get a version from Annie and talk to your mother through a phone line or messenger video chat. And nobody thinks that in this beautiful place, something can't go wrong. Make it make sense. It's a beautiful place in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hey, neighbor, you don't mind if I come in your kitchen and borrow some sugar? You left the door unlocked. You don't mind, do you? Hey, got a pretty swimming pool. You don't mind if I take the dip? It's a pretty day out. No, I don't mind at all. Go right ahead. This is just some Chucky doll type nonsense out there in Tucson. Everybody's hidey ho. Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play? Everything's a game. Oh, we just leave the doors unlocked. Somebody was saying yesterday, hell, for all we know, the front door was unlocked. The damn gate was unlocked. Why not? Because now you're starting to put a bad light on the victim. Oh, she don't lock her doors. So what are you saying? She propped open the back doors? I don't know anything about it. Because somebody said, well, she wouldn't prop her doors open because she knows there's wildlife out there. That would be stupid. Who's going to leave their doors open so coyotes and bobcats can run in? It's dumb. But what did I tell you? Everything is too convenient with these little bitty breadcrumbs being dropped about this lady. Now we're hearing doors are propped open, blood inside at the entry from Banfield, blood outside the door. So what did he do? He waited till they got to the door to beat her up. The house was pristine up until the front entry. Hello, Patricia. Because I thought about that. Blood is at the front, at the inside. So that means you have taken Nancy to the front door. Maybe she's falling out, wilding out. You're trying to make her act right, but she knows what's going on because it's almost like walking to the death chamber, right? The closer you get, you know exactly what's getting ready to happen. So she already knows. And you hear this from experts. Don't get in the van. Don't get in the car. Fight, do what you got to do, but don't get in the van. So if this is going the way I think it's gone, Nancy knows she's walking the death walk. Whoa, Lord have mercy. Help me, Jesus. I got chills going up my spine. She knows this because now when we hear about the blood on the inside, she's walking the death walk. She knows what's getting ready to happen. So she's probably at this point falling down, kicking, acting like a 5-year-old, which she should because she knows what's getting ready to happen. And this person is like, get up, sick of you, get up, come on. So they hit her in the head or punched her. Could have shot her, I don't know. I saw blood drops today in a true crime documentary, and they were nice and round, just like Nancy Guthrie's blood spots on that porch. And that was a gunshot wound that I saw today. I said, hell, maybe she got shot. And of course, the person would not want her to be bleeding in their nice car. Isn't that right? There's something not right. And Sheriff Nanos, you're the last person I want to tell me anything about Nancy Guthrie or Mickey Mouse. Because I don't care what anybody says. If I go back in time, I remember when they went to the Circle K to get the video footage, LE, and it could not have been a few hours later, if that, they were towing Nancy's car. Put it together. Circle K, video footage, and then you're at Nancy's house towing her car. So the first thing I thought, they put Nancy in her own car. Is that what you did? You put Nancy in her own car and you dumped her off somewhere in the desert, and then you doubled back, reparked her car, and then possibly walked around the corner to your car somewhere in the dark where nobody could see. It's pitch black out there. The car could be sitting right in front of you. You wouldn't see it because it's black. It's dark out there. But that's how you all like it in Tucson. And you know exactly what you were doing. Nobody's going to see anything with all these shrubbery and cactuses and cacti, and it's dark out here. Can't even see your hand in front of you. And you knew that. And frankly, that was the perfect setup because you stupid people in Tucson don't like lights. And the perpetrator knew this. I could stand here in darkness. They won't even see me standing by this tree, standing at the window, standing in the yard because it's pitch black outside. When you watch the video of Nancy, when she did a segment of for the Today Show, there's something else I learned about Nancy Guthrie that some of you probably didn't realize. She leaves her blinds open. They filmed that segment at about 5 in the morning Tucson time. And what did I notice in the background while she was making the bed? Her curtains were open. There was no reason for her curtains to be open at 5 a.m. to film this segment. Stay woke, everybody. Why do you need your curtains open? Because you've been leaving them open. And this is possibly who Nancy Guthrie was. She left her curtains open, blinds open, and left her doors unlocked. Checkmate, and somebody knew all of that. And who knows, you leave your curtains, your blinds, and your doors unlocked. Somebody that's been in your house. My, oh my. So what are our options? Inside job to get rid of an old lady. Why? She wronged me, didn't pay me, was rude to me, nasty. I want to pay her a lesson. One of her kids has pissed me off. I want to pay her a lesson, make them suffer. Or sexual assault. And Banfield didn't tell us that any sheets were taken, pillowcases, pillows, comforters. The person said it looked as if Nancy just got up and walked out the front door. Well, nothing was awry in her house. Well, let's think about that for a minute. She's 5'2", 5'4", 150 pounds. She can't fight some guy. So it wasn't going to be a struggle anyway. All he had to do was grab her by the throat, throw her down. Hit her in the throat. She hit the floor. Boom. Party over. Why would there be a struggle when you're a little person and not expecting to have a boogeyman standing in your bedroom? You're weak, bad back, probably bad legs, arthritis, you name it. There's no struggle. Well, Travis, that's what I'm saying in this live. It makes me think that possibly it is one of the Guthries. That you all have decided to reenact the kidnap game from childhood because one of you is not mentally stable. Maybe one of you have a bad attitude. You have resentment towards one of your siblings, your mother, and this is some payback for some way back. For all I know, that somebody in this group has had a really nasty conversation about whatever, and somebody decided to knock off this old lady that they call mommy. You know, when I go back to that video that Savannah did where they were sitting in front of that white wall and the brother had his arms crossed, if I didn't know any better, I almost thought that Cameron had smirked during that film. And I said, sweet Jesus, please tell me I didn't see that. I don't want it to be anybody in the family because that would be devastating to anyone in the family. But who knows? Could all three be involved? Any, mini, miny, mo. Catch a killer by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Any, mini, miny, mo. Somebody in that family, I think, knows something. Because we still don't know who the other Guthrie person is who received the phone call from Derek Colella from LA. And I don't care what anyone says, this is too coincidental. And that's where there's a problem with this case pertaining to Nancy. Everything is too fucking neat except for that guy on that damn camera. And when you think about what you're hearing, it's all coming from the same people that most people think's involved. This is why I always tell people to pay attention. The messenger is the very person that most of you think did it. The doors are open. She don't lock no doors. How convenient. I want you to think about that for just a second. How convenient to wait almost 2 months to tell people the doors are open, which we'd already heard it from Banfield, but you didn't know what to believe. House pristine, blood in the entry, going outside to the driveway, but nothing turned over, broke, nothing. So if you didn't find nothing in her bed sheets, comforter, then there was no sexual assault. So that's one option debunked and knocked down. What we got left? Ransom, that never happened. What's your next option? Revenge. Did it ever occur to anybody that Nancy said something bad on Facebook or on that neighborhood app? But you didn't think about that. Old people talk, they gossip. And for all you know, somebody didn't like something she said on the neighborhood app. Because I think back to something she said years ago about her packages being stolen. Those mail thieves. Well, how do you know they were mails that stolen if you didn't have any cameras? Because somebody probably was talking in the neighborhood that they got their packages stolen, and they were all yapping behind closed doors, Messenger, and on the app. And she just followed suit, thinking maybe, well, I guess some guy stole my packages. So you don't really know what's going on in people's lives. You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know who they're talking about. And we live in a world where people get very angry over the most minute of things. You don't like jokes. You don't want people insinuating things. You don't want to be stared at. You don't want to be bumped in public. You don't want nobody cutting you off in traffic. Everything I'm saying, a person has lost their life on everything that I've named. Somebody's been shot at on the road. Somebody got shot because they cut somebody off in traffic, took somebody's parking space, and something somebody said on Facebook. But something is very, very wrong here. And I'm trying to put it together. Could it be these people said, she's a burden, tired of taking care of her. Can't do what I want, can't go where I want. I need money. She won't give me no money. The sister won't give me no money. I want a house paid for. I need this. I need that. I don't even know if Annie's house is paid for. Is it paid for? Everybody's been snooping. Did you find that out? If her house is paid for? And let me talk about that for a second. Let's just say Big Sis gave her some money, put down on her house, newer house. It won't matter if it was a down payment, the full asking price, it wouldn't be enough. Because what comes with a new house? You need stuff to put in it. Hell, I need a new car now. And I don't think the sister was driving a fancy automobile, SUV. What did my dad tell me many moons ago? If you got $1 million, Angela, it wouldn't be enough. And I said, yeah, it would. He says, no, it wouldn't. You would still want more. I think about that sometimes. I think about that with this case. Are we talking about somebody plus Pearl wanted more, needed more, needed? Said, I can't get it. I ain't got it. I ain't got the resources to get it. I need it, but I know a way I could possibly get it. But see, where that's a problem too, if it's an inside job, we don't got a body to collect insurance, so what are your other options? Bank account, a house, and a Subaru SUV. Hot damn. Damn, don't tell me y'all knocked that lady out for a Subaru. That would be just bodacious. Girl, did you hear about them folks over there in Tucson? No, honey, what happened? They killed an old lady for a Subaru. What? A Subaru? Girl, that's pitiful, ain't it? Sure is. But they split the house. She had 3 children. One's a millionaire. The other 2, they ain't doing the best. I guess she'll let them take the house, the proceeds from the house. That would be the only right thing to do, don't you think? I guess. As I said before in my life, maybe that was the plan all along. Can't have a body because the insurance ain't going to pay for a homicide, especially if they think we did it. So let's dump her somewhere where she can't be found, hopefully. And in the end, Savannah, she'll get tired of this. She ain't going to want to come back to Tucson. Memory's too bad. She'll want to get rid of this house. She'll go ahead and sell it. And me and my brother can split the profits. Savannah don't need it. Her and her husband are wealthy. They don't need this house. They don't need this Subaru. My mama. Is that what happened? Jesus, please tell me that is not what happened to Nancy Guthrie. Some people still get mad if you talk about these people being involved. I was on the interview rooms chat. Some lady was not pleased with Chris. Basically saying it's just disgusting. You're still harping on these people being involved. What do you know about these people, honey? Are you related to them? You know Savannah, you know Cameron, you know Annie, you know Tommaso. We haven't even heard of any other relatives, which I find strange. Do people change? Of course they do. And let me tell you something I've learned about life. People really change when money is involved. Let one person get a piece of the pie and they ain't willing to share. Because common sense will tell anybody, people want what you got. And if they don't want what you got, they want something similar to what you got. And you got it, they expect you to share it. Well, you got enough money. I just need a little bit this month. There's no such thing as a little bit. Because a little bit becomes a whole lot. So just like I said with the situation with Annie and everybody, snooping in her business about the house business, for all we know, her sister could have given her a nice lump sum of money or could not. I don't know. I don't know what she got going on. But let's just say hypothetical, hey, can you help us out? We found a nice little house. Okay, how much you need? She gives her a certain amount of money. It ain't going to be enough. Because if you didn't pay for the house in cash, you still owe a due bill. So let's role play. Hey, here's the whole amount, $650,000 for your house. Good luck, love you. And then the brother, he's looking like, why you give her that much money? You ain't pay for my house. You ain't buy me a whole house. So this is what happens when you start giving money. Everybody will start having their hands out, and then it'll be a competition. Oh, well, you bought our whole house. Well, what about me? Buy one a car, you got to buy another one a car. Come on with it now. How is Cameron living on the East Coast? They say he's in Vermont. What does he do for a living? Retired from the military, married, you have adult children. Please tell me you don't have a gambling problem. And you remember something, well, you don't know this, but I'll go ahead and share it with you. Because my parents had the most interesting sayings when I was a kid, especially my mother. My mother used to say about men, the quiet ones. She'd say, the quiet ones make the most noise. The quiet ones make the most noise. God rest her soul. Well, Mommy, I think you're onto something. Because that brother's quite quiet. And a lot of you'd say, oh, he's stoic. He's da-da-da-da-da. He's been in the military. Yep, and them are the ones that pop off and do crazy shit. The ones that don't make any noise. This will be a fucked up situation if all of them are involved in getting rid of that old lady. Found some crackhead to go in there and get Nancy Guthrie and dump her off, and they wash their hands. That'd be messed up. But more than likely, one of the kids ain't involved. And that might be Savannah. But I don't know about the other two. And that husband. I don't know. This interview with Hoda, something ain't right. Because she's telling us that she got home at nighttime. And they are 3 hours ahead of Tucson. And that's a problem for me. That's a real big problem. Because you're trying to tell me you waited hours before calling your sister to tell her her own mother's missing. So then I have to say, well, what time did you call your brother Cameron? And how do we know that the doors were propped open? Who told us that? Police ain't told us. Did he tell us? Because think about that. Nobody has come officially to say blood was on the inside and outside the door and down the drive. Number one. Nobody said anything was broke, smashed, Jimmy in the front of the house, the back of the house. Nobody told us anything about what it looks like in the back of the house. Nobody told us what it looks like on the inside of the house. Nobody told us what it looks like inside of Nancy's bedroom. Favorite shoes missing, favorite shoes still in the house. Did she wear special shoes? Are they still there by her bed, in the closet? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Just somebody running the Banfield, and we're getting information a month or so after Banfield reveals what her source told her. The only thing that may not be right, allegedly, is that Tommaso is not the culprit. Well, maybe he was at the time. Maybe they thought he was acting weird, saying strange things. Maybe he didn't talk a lot at first. I don't know. I know there's something not right here. That's what I do know. And I know this ain't no botched robbery. Somebody went into that lady's house in the dead of the morning because they had a problem with Nancy Guthrie. Or they were hired to go in there and get her out of there, which means it's personal. From somebody that worked with her, knew of her, or her children. Because you don't go to the crime scene to rob with a full bag. Kind of like going to pick up new furniture, but you already got stuff on the truck. How's that going to work out? It ain't. What was in the backpack? I think we know it was in the backpack. Some things that weren't very, very nice. Oh, it's a botched robbery. It's a botched robbery. I'm like, who told you it was a botched robbery? When have you ever seen anybody with a full backpack going to rob somebody at 1:45 in the morning? Make it make sense. Just what was it that he was going to put in that full backpack? Please help me out. A couple of rings, some bracelets. What was in the backpack? You already know what was in the backpack. Something to wrap that lady up with, pull her, tug her, drag her out of there. I ain't going to use none of her things, sheets, comforter, bedspread, quilt. I'm just going to leave her house as if she did get up and walk out. But yet the family says she couldn't walk well. Let me tell you something. If we had not seen that video of that guy, that monster in front of the camera, some of us might believe she got up and walked out, wandered off. That's all you would have had, really. Blood in the entry, blood outside. Nobody knew about the entry because law enforcement they haven't really admitted there was blood on the inside. So all you would have is just blood on the outside, told to the public, and a missing 84-year-old woman. But other than that, nothing else. We live in a world where people are diabolical and people will unalive you for the smallest of things. And it is hard for some people to comprehend why someone would want to unalive an 84-year-old, but it has happened and she won't be the first and she won't be the last. And the motive really never matters in the end. Because there's just no logic to justify unaliving an 84-year-old. We don't know that she's a kingpin, a mistress of diabolical deeds, or shall I say queen pin. We don't know that she's trafficking dope. She's running some type of illegal activity out of her house for somebody to feel like they gotta knock her off. Or was she an eyewitness to something? Trying to give every option possible. Did Nancy witness something? She wasn't getting out. Neighbors said they hadn't seen her in a while, so what could she witness? I was hearing a weird noise. I wonder who Annie called first, Cameron or Savannah? Cameron first to let her know the deed is done. They both live on the coast. I don't know, Sophie, but there's something off. That's all I'm going to say. I've tried to remain objective during this case, but the story is being told if you're paying attention. And that's like my daddy always said, all you have to do is listen. He always told me that. He said, let people talk and they'll tell on themselves. Don't say nothing. And Savannah's already told you it's dark 30 when she found out her mom was missing, which makes no sense. The woman was probably dead in the AM. She was probably dead before 6 a.m. Allegedly, this couple gets over there at noon, almost noon. Why is this woman doing an interview saying she and her kids were out and had a great night? She's walking in the door, the husband's walking in the door. They're bumping heads coming in. That's kind of creepy too, almost. You know that thing where we say, whoa, perfect timing. You're home, I'm home. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. I didn't make it up. Could the husband have been jealous? Jealous of the mother? So you got to know everything that's going on with these people. Who's happy, happily married, financial trouble? Because everybody keeps crying about the 40 million. Well, y'all don't really want Queen to go into Belly the Beast about that. Because, excuse me, that's what's said on paper. That don't mean somebody really got 40 million in the bank. She should have it. If a true kidnapping, a note would have been left, of course. That's why I said that the paper, the paper is written on the wall is written on the paper. The suspect, by the grace of God, we were able to see him there. He had a full backpack. I'm going to go rob you. First of all, why do I want to rob you in your home? And even if he knew, let's say, I know there's an old lady in there that I could tackle, beat up, whatever, you still wouldn't have a full backpack. Make it make sense. That's why I always say, chop it up, make it make sense. Chop it up. You're going in this house with a backpack, with a mask on, gloves, didn't bring duct tape or spray paint to spray the camera, which don't make no damn sense. What are you going in there for? You're not going in there for no ransom. That don't make no sense. This lady has a cell phone. Did anybody think about that? Ding, ding, ding. That's what I tell you, ain't nobody thinking about nothing. It's a ransom. I could call her daughter. Duh. Phone number's right there in the phone. Hot damn. How y'all miss that? Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, mama. What's up? This is not your mother. We have your mother. We want 40 million, 60 million, 2 million, 6 million, whatever. Damn. Come on now. Nobody thought about that. All these months, it never dawned on me. Because I always tell you, everything's sitting right in front of you. Just don't think about it. You're in there to kidnap her with a full backpack, and mommy's phone is right there. You want me to believe she had it on lock? Who's going in Nancy's phone? And she's at home by herself all the time. Nobody. Nobody's going through her phone. Ring, 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 ring. Call Annie. Hey, how you doing? Who is this? Where's my mother? Well, she's with us. I need $6 million by such and such time. We'll return her when we get the money. Click. Hot damn. And no information about money sent to these crypto accounts. Nothing. First, we got a rumor about $300 put in one or something. Haven't heard no more about that. So you have this woman, you want money, but all you want to do is play hopscotch games. I don't want to talk. Sounds like a 3-year-old navigating. I don't want to talk, but I want your money. I want you to think about that. She's making all these videos. We're listening. We're ready to comply, blah, blah, blah. Dead silence, and he pops back up like a little weasel out of hole. Still telling us nothing. But again, she says, I think 2 of the notes were real. Well, share with us, because I'm confused. And what did he say in the notes that made you think he was legit? Savannah Guthrie, help me out. Where did your mother put her Apple Watch, Google Watch at the end of the day? On the bedside table, the dresser. Allegedly, it was at the bottom of the bed. Isn't that what he put in the note? Talking about the broken lights outside and the watch at the edge of the bed. The watch would only be at the edge of the bed because you snatched it off of her. And then we have to say she went to bed wearing her watch. Does she normally wear her watch to bed? Make it make sense. There's something off here. I'm going to keep saying it now because this interview has me thinking this is not some random person. I could be wrong. I did not want to give my opinion of who I think did this, but this interview got me going in circles now because I played it and played it and played it tonight, and something is off with her own words. I took the kids to Carson's. We had fun tonight. That night. So she's saying it's dark 30. Then Annie calls. So this don't make no sense. Why in the world would you go hours before calling someone to tell them that their mother is missing? Make it make sense. And like I said, her response is odd. Savannah answered the phone as if she don't Say it, Queen. She don't want to be bothered. Kind of like how some of us black folks talk when we don't want to be bothered. We say, what? What you want? Or was she crying when she called? Let me be nice. Maybe Annie was blubbering. And she was like, what is it? Slow down, I can't hear you. What are you saying? What's the problem? So I'll take that back. Because see, as this deception detector said, if a person don't tell you anything, you just have to sit here and guess. So Annie, were you blubbering to where she couldn't understand what you were saying, and that's why she responded, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's the matter? I can't hear you. Speak up. But Savannah didn't say that in the interview. She was, incoherent. I couldn't understand what she was saying. She was crying and she was screaming, and I didn't understand what was going on. She didn't say that. Wouldn't you say that to the interviewer? I came home with the kids. My husband, he just so happens to walk in the door when I did. Coincidence. Shut up, Angela. And all of a sudden, Annie calls. Ain't that something? I must admit, it's a lot of coincidences. 3,000 miles away, everybody's bumping heads at the same damn time. I can't recall who found this, but someone in Colorado a year ago did a Google search on Nancy's name 2 times in 1 month. It was around the time Savannah was interviewing Epstein survivors. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with those folks. Epstein was not that important, not in my view. He was just a sick wacko that liked little girls. And you got to think about how people navigate today. Most people don't even watch the news. That's why nobody believes this has anything to do with the Today Show. Because there are people out there in Arizona that didn't know anything about it. You saw that boy who they detained. His mother didn't know anything about it. She said she saw stuff on Facebook. She didn't know it. Because people don't watch TV. People don't have cable. And stuff's going on in everybody's neighborhood. They don't even know what the hell's going on. But something's going on here. And it ain't adding up. It ain't adding up at all. So I'm going to ask this question. Annie Guthrie, when did you call your sister? What time did you call her? And if you called her 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours later, I want to know why. You were distraught. You weren't thinking clearly. You were upset. Or you too busy trying to watch to see what the fuck they were bringing out that house. That's probably it, Queen. I ain't moving. I want to see what they bring out of here. Because you know you couldn't go back in there. All right, ma'am, you and your husband got to step outside. We got to tape off the house. Can't go back in. Why did Savannah call the hospitals too? Does she not trust Annie? Well, that's been said by some people too. Savannah, you want to answer? Why did you call the hospitals? You didn't trust your sister to do the right thing? That's why I said it's probably more to this story than what we're being told, because that's an old saying and it's usually true. Why do you think they always say, don't shoot the messenger? Beware of the messenger, because the messenger could be bringing good news or the messenger could be bringing bad news. Meaning, the messenger could be telling the truth and the messenger could be spreading lies. So I ask you all, pertaining to Nancy Guthrie, what message is the messenger bringing? Because that's all we have to go on are breadcrumbs from Ashley Banfield and her source and this damn interview with Hoda Kotb. And something is amiss with Savannah's take on February 1st. And what did you not hear in the interview? Come on with it, Queen. Why are you just not calling me? She's very poised in her commentary. And you always have to remember about people who major in communications, attend drama school. They know how to turn on and turn off. So she knows not to get ignorant in the interview. She is now on the other side of the chair. Stay woke now. So she's not going to get animated like Queen. Why are you just not calling me? How long she been missing? Anybody listening? Because somebody out there would act that way, even if they a white person, Jew, Arab. It's dark 30. She went missing when? The lady called at 11:10 and said mama missing. Heifer, it's 8 o'clock. Why you just not calling me? Y'all see where I'm going? And that's what she left out in the interview. She knew not to say it because you all would lose your damn minds. You would lose your damn minds. And Savannah knows this because she's been watching all of the commentary. That's why somebody says that's why she did this interview. Damage control, possibly. I'm tired of you all talking about my sister and her husband, brother-in-law. They take good care of my mama. They wouldn't hurt my mama. What is the biggest mystery con that ever happened in the world? Any ideas? Haha, Sophie, I'm trying to behave. What is the biggest con that ever happened since the world came to existence? I'm going to tell you. The devil. The devil wanted you to believe that he never existed. Are you hearing me? I'm not a snake. Who told you that? How dare they? Satan? That is not my name. I'm just a little old snake crawling around minding my business. Who told you I'm damned? The biggest con ever made was the devil trying to make you believe that he never existed. That's what you have here. Because this is too convenient. There are too many roads crossing. We have a Luke Daly, who is more than likely crossed paths with Annie and Tommaso, Derek Colella, some crazy devil-worshiping DJ, and this white girl who is allegedly related to the Guthries, who has committed fraud and robbery. And during this interview, he lied and said he didn't know her, yet he was arrested with her last year. Make it make sense. Derek Colella makes phone calls to Annie and Tommaso and an unknown Guthrie. Who is that person? Come on, tie it together, Queen. What if you find out that Derek Colella knows that cousin who got involved in those FedEx robbery, who also knows Luke Daly? Because there's a reason why Luke does not want people to know that he knows this girl. I've never heard of anyone saying, yeah, I got arrested with Pookie, but I don't know Pookie. Shut your mouth. And then his mother decides to sit up and say to Brian Enton, she's met Savannah and Nancy before in a store years before, but then when the dark-haired girl interviews her, she says, I don't know her. I've never met her. Tells the FBI, sure, come in my house. You won't find anything. Who says that? Because a normal person doesn't talk like that. And I get it. Everybody talks a little bit different. Different races, we kind of navigate a little different. But I've been one crazy old white woman that day. Do you hear what I said? FBI, FBI, open up. FBI. Yes, may I help you? Yes, we have a search warrant for your house. You have a search warrant. Why? There is a woman missing by the name of Nancy Guthrie, and perhaps there's information here in your house. Hell no, you ain't coming in here. Nancy Guthrie? What does Nancy Guthrie have to do with my house? Who the hell tells the FBI to just come on in, but you're not going to find anything? That sounds like something out of a horror movie. Sure. Come on in and get your neck cut. That's not a normal response when the FBI is knocking at your door talking about, I got a search warrant. You're supposed to be asking why. Why are you here? What? I don't know that lady. What the hell are you looking for stuff in my house for? You have the wrong house, sir. You have the wrong house. May I see the warrant, please? May I see the warrant, please? Make it make sense. And yet she's told a lie. 2 separate interviews. One version of Brian Enton and another version to another reporter. I want to know why. And she's in denial about her son. Her son is an addict. And an addict will do anything to get their next high. So sitting up there talking all this mumbo jumbo like he's an angel. Miss me with that bullshit. There's a reason why Luke Daly was raided. Range Rover pulled over because that phone was pinging over there somewhere near that woman's damn house. Now, he lives over there, perfect excuse. But he has a jaded past. And the past allegedly ties in to a female that's supposed to be related to the Guthries. Now, is this true? And where is she? Still incarcerated? Where is she? And perhaps that's why he denied her. Because he knows this girl, she's a roughhouser. And maybe he knows something about this Nancy Guthrie case. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is there are too many people crossing roads. That's where I'm going, perhaps. I got a feeling that some of these people have crossed paths with one another. Luke Daly, Annie, Tommaso, the wicked DJ, that white girl, and that damn Derek Colella from LA. I got a feeling that if you put them all up in a lineup, somebody would say, how you doing? One of these screwballs know each other. They have frequented the same businesses, clubs, bars, performing. Somebody knows somebody. And I don't trust this Derek Colella. He was arrested in California for fraud on his job. He's desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. California is near Arizona. It would be nothing for him to ride over to Arizona and knock off an old lady, make his way back to LA. Checkmate. Who is the mystery Guthrie that he called? Sheriff Nanos, would you like to enlighten us? Because I'm sick of these reindeer games. And some of you don't want to focus on that, but you should. Because you know it's bullshit. Savannah is the one with the money, but I'm going to call Annie and Tommaso. Make it make sense? Not just one, but both. You call both people. And you call another Guthrie that they don't want to tell us who this Guthrie person is. So who is it? Because you only have two other options. That would be either Savannah or Cameron. Which is it? 9 seconds, Dougie Fresh, 9 seconds. He held the line. And what do you think 9 seconds means? Confirmation. Could 9 seconds mean I took care of that? Hot damn. But FBI, you want to tell us he ain't got nothing to do with it. He ain't got nothing to do with it. He's just an imposter. He got their phone numbers off of Google search. Online. But what makes no sense, he's trying to get money through this crypto nonsense or whatever you call it, Bitcoin. Why are you calling Annie and Tommaso? They don't have any money. A nervous person would make that sort of statement. What kind of statement, Wandering Eye? I mean, make it make sense. That's what I'm saying. It's too many coincidences. It's too much. Too many of these oddball street people. They know each other some form of fashion. That's why that Luke Daly was trying to remove himself from knowing that white girl. He knew exactly what he was doing. I'm not going to tell you all I'm friends with her. When he told the lady in the interview, the first thing I said was, this guy is high. How you going to tell somebody, I don't know her, but I was arrested with her last year? Never heard of such. Make it make sense. You were arrested with a complete stranger from Tucson, but you don't know him. Who is the third Guthrie that got the 9-second phone call? Cameron, is it you? Because you've been awfully damn quiet. And Savannah, I'm going to say this to you. It's no disrespect to you, honey, but I do agree with Deception Detective. You were putting on the mustard kind of thick in that interview about how brilliant your brother and Annie are. And some could say, well, she was just trying to, set up the scene for how he thought this was a ransom. Maybe. Maybe not. I just thought it was overkill, literally. Oh, my brother is so brilliant. He's so brilliant. He's been in the military. He knows intel. Blah, 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 blah. And Annie, she's this and that and intuition. Well, if she's got so much fucking intuition, she should have known her mother was going to get kidnapped. How about that? Something's off. Do you know when you get interviewed by the police, they ask you everything besides what size underwear you wear when you go into an interrogation room, unless it's relevant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Kind of like this. Hi, I'm Detective Brown. You are Savannah Guthrie? Yes, I'm Savannah Guthrie. Hi, how are you doing? Have a seat. So, what did you do this weekend? Where'd you go this weekend? Were you with your kids, your husband? Oh, my husband, he went out of town for a tennis match. And, well, where did he go? What time did he leave? What day did he leave? Did he leave Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Who all went on the trip? Where was the trip? East Coast, West Coast, Midwest? Where did he go? What time did you get up Sunday morning? Did you stay in New York the entire weekend? What time did you say you got up Sunday morning? Oh, did you stay in, eat in, go out to eat, brunch? Where'd you go? What all did you do? Did you buy anything, go shopping? Did you call anybody? Talk to your mother, your brother, sister, cousin? Did you talk to your husband? What time did he call? How long was the phone conversation? What did he say? What did you talk about? Where all did you and your kids go? Where'd you eat dinner? What did you eat? What time did you get home? What time did your husband get home? Kind of like that. So, Savannah, I would have wanted more information. This news interview with Hoda. My husband went out of town and I did this, and this with the kids. And we got up at this time and we went over here. I got home at 6:30, 8:30. The phone rang. It was Annie. She was crying. She was blubbering. I couldn't understand what she was saying. Then she tells us that mom is missing. Kind of like that. I didn't get that in the interview. People want more so we can get an understanding about when this woman called you, because it's looking like Annie waited hours to call you, and that doesn't look good, in my opinion. That's the first thing you want to do, is notify your siblings that their biological mother is missing. Why not? Another thing that's odd, and I'm not going to hold you all. When you go into Google search, it first will tell you that Sheriff Manos thought that Nancy went missing at 9-something, perhaps because that's what time Tommaso said he dropped her off, right before 10 at the garage. But then evidence showed a little creepy crawler at her camera, which led them to believe she had a visitor. And she perhaps left her property at 2:28 a.m. And I always wondered where that came from, January 31st. What made them think this crime took place January 31st. Good old Sheriff Nanos. Sheriff, you ain't a detective. Stop trying to detect. Thank God for the next camera, ring camera, whatever the hell you want to call it. Shows us this guy ramming around before 2 a.m. Nothing good happens after midnight. Did you ever hear that? Nothing good happens after midnight. It's old black folks saying, trying to prevent young people from hanging out. There ain't nothing good happening after midnight, obviously. There are a lot of peculiarities pertaining to this woman being missing. And I think the answer is probably right in front of us. Some may want to accept it, some may not. Some could say, well, we're just guessing. But we know that most homicides are committed by people who know their victims. And it'll be a shame to find out that these people hurt their own mother, paid somebody to hurt their mother. And you can bang your head against the wall trying to figure out why somebody would want to hurt their own mother. You need not ask, because it's no different than somebody hurting their own child. They're literally the same. Hate. It's either a mental illness or you hate the person. You no longer want to be bothered. And you see this a lot with mothers unaliving their children. So it is really no different than a child, adult child, unaliving his or her parent. They no longer want to be obligated. So how can I get myself out of this situation? I no longer want to keep running over here talking to this old person. I'm tired of dealing with her. Tired of taking her to the grocery store, picking her up, doctor's appointments, needing this, needing that. Got to talk to the plumber, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. I don't want to do it anymore. Is that the reason why we are here today, talking about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and possible homicide? Did her children decide to knock her off because they're tired of being bothered with her? They want money that they think she has, or have knowledge she has a lump sum of money in savings, bitcoins, real estate. I don't know what this old lady has. For all I know, she's invested her money. Who knows? I wonder why they didn't ask anything about Savannah's hubby. I don't know. But I find it interesting, in this interview, we learned that the husband was away. And I thought about him too. I just never said it on a live. I don't reveal all my thoughts about Nancy Guthrie to you all. But I'm going to say it now. We haven't heard much about the husband. But we now know that he went somewhere, because she says it in the interview. One second. Nothing like a replay. Nothing, nothing, nothing. One second, everybody. Get it together. Perhaps none of these people have anything to do with the disappearance of this lady. People have made horrible accusations. All I'm going to say is I'm trying to figure out when did she call her sister, because it doesn't look like she called her in a timely fashion, which I find bizarre. Because what else do you have to do? You're not going to be in the house because they're not going to allow you to be in the house. So you really can't say why, why it would take you so long to call your family. Brian Enton is back in Arizona, if you didn't know. He can't stay away. It's an inside job. They're foolish to think it's not close. Abductors, they're all looking. The fuck, why not get the sheriff off the case? Well, Ray, he ain't he ain't gonna say nothing else about nothing. He's gonna leave well enough alone. Trust me. Let's go back in time. Let me see if this is it. 1 second, everybody. I'm trying to get this timestamp here, where she's talking about what she did with her kids. And you tell me what you hear. Well,
To complete minutes, so he had been gone for the weekend. So it's actually in persons. So we have beautiful Mike. I had given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Parsons. So we had a beautiful, fun night together, and then he came home. And really just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi, putting down our stuff, and the kids are running around.
listen carefully.
Like a big leap, but just listen to this. Let's start watching.
The weekend your mom went missing. Tell me what you were doing and what happened.
Well, Mike, I had given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Parsons. So we had a beautiful, fun night together, and then he came home. And really just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi, putting down our stuff, and the kids are running around. And my sister called me, and I said, "Is everything okay?" And she said, "No." She said, "Mom's missing." And I said, "What? What are you talking about?" She said, "She's gone." And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, "Call 911." She's like, "I did. We called them. They're here." And we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there's a stretcher and they took her out the back.
The ultimate sign of a hoaxer is knowledge beyond the facts, like how Annie and Tommaso somehow knew that Savannah didn't know where Nancy was. Remember, she didn't say they called her and asked her if Nancy was with her, or if she knew where Nancy was, or if she'd heard anything. They called her and informed her Nancy was gone, after calling 911 and even waiting for 911 to arrive. Now, is that proof that Annie and Tommaso are hoaxers? No. After all, in statement analysis, we need multiple signs of deception before we can make that conclusion. And this is just hearsay. After all, it's all according to Savannah. But the fact that she doesn't seem at all concerned or suspicious about their unfounded knowledge is what really concerns me. She's constantly telling the public how no detail is too small, yet glaringly suspicious stuff like this gets dismissed out of hand. Even worse, if you insist that it's important anyway, you get called cruel and irresponsible. Now, that could be explained by denial. As I said in the intro, Savannah doesn't want want to believe that her beloved sister Annie and brother-in-law Tommaso could have done something wicked to her mother, so she chooses to ignore any evidence that might suggest it. And even though it's misguided, it's totally normal and understandable. I've done multiple videos about the cognitive dissonance I think she and Sheriff Nanos are experiencing about the family. But here's the thing, some of the stuff Savannah says in this interview goes way beyond simply ignoring suspicions about the family. And a great example of it is coming up, so let's keep listening.
She said, Mom's missing. And I was like, what are you talking about? She said, she's gone. And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, call 911. She's like, I did. We called them. They're here. And we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there's a stretcher and they took her out the back, but her phone was there and her purse was there and all her things, and it just didn't make any sense. So, Annie and Tommy had already called all the hospitals, but then I'm like, I'm going to call the hospital. So then I started calling the hospitals, and the police were there talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos and disbelief.
Within hours, Savannah was making the long journey home to Tucson. You saw Amy and Cam when you got to their house. Tell me about that moment.
Just disbelief and hurting each other. And I think we were on the phone with the sheriff and trying to, really make clear from the very early moments, Annie and Tommy were saying this isn't that case that you are used to where someone wanders off. She can't wander off. My mom, she was in tremendous pain. Her back was very bad. She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off.
We'll stop there. She did not wander off. I don't know what's going on. And as some people have said pertaining to this case, it's probably a lot simpler than what some of us think. And usually it is. It's only appearing complicated because someone has not been arrested. But everything done was probably very simple, articulated, and they did carry it out. So was Nancy having a good walking day when the Uber came to pick her up and take her to Annie's house? Spoiled. I don't know. I guess so. Because either way, she's got to walk to get to the front door. She's got to walk to get to the garage. She's got to. She's got to walk. Very good point. Very good point. 73 people watching. Anybody in the audience want to come on the panel? I'll give you the opportunity. You can give your opinion. If not, I won't hold you on. I'm already 2 hours into this live. Title of my video is What Time Did Annie Call Savannah Guthrie and also her brother Cameron? Number 2, why didn't this lady have a life alert necklace? And why didn't she have her children sharing footage of her home through Google? Well, they made it seem like she could barely walk to get mail, right? But we know about having a hard time walking. As most of you know, Queen has knee trouble, but in the thick of things, you walk even though it hurts. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't have no choice unless you're going to be in a wheelchair. There's just something off here. I'm trying to put it together but I feel there's something off. And as I said to you all earlier, those who, some of you weren't here when I first came on live hours ago, my spirit was wrestling with me because I was watching the interview room at the time, and I knew something wasn't right because I get distracted easily. And when my mind starts going to that damn Google, that's when I know I've hit something. I'm on to something. And I say, oh, I gotta go live. Because my spirit is telling me that something is not right. And whenever I start Googling, I know that I'm on to something. I've been listening to the same information be regurgitated for almost 2 months, 2 months rather, 2 months, because it's a new day. So what does my clock say? Yeah, it's a new day. There's something not right, and this interview helped put that in motion. When she said it was nighttime, she's getting home, I guess. Her and the husband, he's getting home, she's getting home with the kids. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean nighttime? So first thing I started thinking early when I was listening to this, I said, well, wait a minute. Was it January 31st? When she got the call that the lady was missing, that her mama was missing? But then if you listen carefully, and he's saying, oh, the police is there at the same time they're talking. So that would be the assumption February 1st. But what time? And we understand that the woman from the church, from the church group, she calls it after 11 a.m. And then they get over to the house right before 12. Okay? Will help Queen understand why this woman is doing an interview saying her and her kids are walking in the house, and the husband is walking in at the same damn time, and it would appear to be that it's dark 30. She was talking about the night before she brought that up. I don't know. Well, at least I was thinking that too. That's why I kept playing it. Let's play it again. Okay, well, think about what you're saying now, Elise. That's why I was telling everybody, think about what you're saying. If you want to say she and her kids were hanging out January 31st, which would have been a Saturday, and she's walking in the door and the husband's walking in the door, then that means they called to say this woman was missing Saturday night. Also, Annie called 911 before calling Cameron and Savannah and asking had they heard from mom. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. You're getting all these different versions of things. So everything's about interpretation. So I'm going to go back and play this, and you all reply to me. Do you think she's talking about Sunday evening, or she's speaking of Saturday? That's why I kept replaying it before going live. But it sounds like she's saying we went out, we had a good time, because she's speaking of a place that obviously Hoda knows about. And she's like, oh, we went to Carson's. We had a fun night. And then she's talking like her husband is just coming in while she's coming in. Say what? Sam spent the night at that guy's house. What guy? Hold on a minute, girl. I can't fool with y'all. What guy you talking about? Holy crap. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We'll make this easy. Oh, Lord. Looking for my pen. Hold on. Queen's in here rambling. 1 second, so I can write this down right. Okay. 1 second. Carson Daly. Carson Daly. Well, when? Saturday night? Sunday? What day was it, honey? Where are you getting that from? Now, don't y'all start. I can't fool with y'all. Because that don't sound good. What you're saying. I don't think she did. What you don't think? Let me get another device. So I can type better on this other one. Hold on, you guys. I'm gonna type something. I just know there's something very wonky going on. One second. I'm gonna type this out. You all are welcome to come up. I'm gonna type this out. You all are welcome to repeat myself. Sorry about that. Okay. You want to come up on the panel, make this live count so you can explain what you're saying. Because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Hold on, you guys. I've been trying to figure out what she means too. The link is in the chat. You want to come up here and explain what you're saying, sweetheart, about Carson Daly and call Savannah Sunday afternoon. Okay, at least it can't be afternoon because it sounded like she was saying, Savannah, I'm telling you, listening to this, it sounds like she's saying she just got back in her house. Because remember she's saying, I walked in and we're coming in at the same time. He's coming in from his trip. She's coming in from being with her children. And before that, she says, we had a good night. We'll play it again.
Tell me what you were doing and what happened.
Well, I had given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Parsons. So we had a beautiful, fun night together, and then I came home. And really, I just got home at the same time that Mike came home.
She just said it, and I just got home when Mike got home. It sounds like she went to the house of the guy that she works with and took the kids and they had a good evening. That's what she just said. Play it again.
doing and what happened?
Well, I'd given Mike for Christmas a voice trip to go play tennis, and so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Parsons. So we had a beautiful, fun night together, and then he came home. And really, I just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi, putting down our.
She says it. I just got home when Mike got home. Hit the link. You have something you like to say pertaining to the title of this live? What time did Annie call Savannah Guthrie to tell her that their mother was missing? Because when you listen to this interview, it sounds like it's nighttime when she finally makes it home, or it's evening. It's still later, no matter what time it was. It wasn't right after they arrived to Nancy's house. That's the point I'm making. They got to Nancy's house around 12 noon, right before noon, allegedly, 11:56. So why did they wait hours to call when we know, yes, they are 3 hours behind East Coast time? Number two, why does this woman not have a life alert necklace? Number three, why did she not share her Google Nest camera footage audio with these people? I did my Googling before coming on, and it says two-way audio, video, movement, motion, but yet we don't know anything about. Audio, was he talking while he was doing all this crazy nonsense, going in this woman's house? Why didn't she share it with her children? Because you can share the footage recording through the app. Was she a private person and she didn't want her kids having access to looking at her camera footage inside her house and outside of her house? Because I'm trying to understand, at 84, somebody should have been saying to her, we need to share the video footage from your house. Because let's be truthful, had somebody been sharing the Google information, she possibly will be alive today. Okay? Because somebody would have gotten an alert that somebody is messing with the camera, number one. Number two, somebody is moving about. I refuse to believe these people, Cameron, Savannah, her husband, Annie, Tommaso, all were in bed 15 to 2. One person out of this group was probably up. Somebody in this group was possibly up 15 till 2 and would have gotten an alert on their phone that there's movement outside of Nancy's house had this information was shared. Why not? Yeah, it's late, but I'm saying everybody sleeps. You got to remember, Annie and Tommaso, it's the weekend. So I would expect some people would stay up late. Now, Savannah might have been going to bed because she goes to this church service in New York. But I don't even know if she went to the church service or not. See, we haven't even heard about that. Did she even attend church? It's just the assumption she goes to church on Sunday. But I haven't heard that she went to church on that Sunday. I'm just saying, even in your resting mode, almost drifting to sleep, if you're not in deep sleep, you can hear alerts on your phone. You hear your Facebook notifications dinging. You might turn over, you might not. All I'm saying is this is just odd to me. This woman wasn't sharing any Google footage, and she's elderly. I think that's weird. No life alert. If she had that life alert around her neck, as soon as that demon woke her up, she could have pressed the button. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. You want to be heard? Hit that link. Come on up. You don't have to show yourself. Mm-hmm. Where's this case going? Where is this case going? Yes, I always hear my phone in the night and I always look at it because I want to know what's going on. Okay. So when do you sleep? When do you sleep, dear? As most of you know, Nano's background has come up and it's not looking good. The deputies union wants him out. They need 122,000 signatures by July to get him voted out. I'm hoping that they get the signatures because I think he's a problem, and it's really sad to me that he made it up to the rank of sheriff with his past from El Paso, and El Paso needs to stand account as well for having him working as long as they did as a police officer. No takers. Nobody wants to come up here and talk to the queen. Well, I always take a good nap in the afternoon after lunch. Well, you're up now talking to the queen. You want to hit that link? Come on and join me. Come on. Any takers? No takers? I don't believe it. Hello, Venice. How are you, darling? They're scared down there in that chat for some reason. I'd like to hear from some of you. I'd like to hear that. Could Savannah mean Carson's Pizza restaurant in New York or Carson's Tavern? RC, thank you. I don't know. It's somewhere where I guess you can take children, wherever that is. I just think there's more to the dynamics between all three children. That's the one thing people don't seem to understand about television. Television is just what it is, a box. People can say and do anything they want in front of a live camera. Does not mean it's the truth. I think most of you know this. You should know this. I'm not here to tell you I don't get along well with my family, my friends. That's not the time. I'm not going to tell you that. She's portraying herself that they're close, they love their mom, the mom loves them, but we really have no idea what's going on with these people. And I'm not here to say that these relatives are involved, but this struck me strange, this interview, because either way, I got a feeling she didn't get the good news until later. Because you got to remember, they're 3 hours behind New York time. So if she's at church 11 o'clock, it's just 8 o'clock in Tucson. I think Tommaso and his bandmates are the suspects and believe Annie knows. Okay, Venus. You want to come up and hit the link and explain your opinion? All these wonderful people in the chat: Jersey Lady, RC, Elise. Yeah, I'm calling y'all out. Spoiled 365, Patricia, Wandering Eye, Sophie. Guess Travis fell off. Linda probably fell off too. Linda's probably in the bed. Oh, I was thinking of her coworker, but yes, I guess an eating place would make more sense. Isn't there another brother? I don't know. I've only heard of 3 children. Where'd you get another brother from? Unless the father had some more kids with another woman. Don't know. Where'd you hear about another brother? Don't make the queen be so sad. Hit the link, or I'm going to check out of here. I've been on a few hours, 2 hours and 38 minutes. As I said, I don't want to accuse anyone of hurting this lady. I don't know these people. I don't know their lives. I don't know what they've been doing out there in Tucson. And that's the thing. How would we know? We can assume all day who did it, why, but it could be just as simple as inside job, family, hired somebody, and or random neighbor, drug head, crackhead, delivery person. Could be anybody. I thought I heard there was another brother in like Virginia or somewhere. Well, I know, well, Cameron lives on the East Coast. I think he's in Vermont, if I'm not mistaken. At one point, I thought he was living in Tucson when the story first broke, but I wasn't really for sure. Let me ask you all something. Should they have spoken to the news in the beginning when the mother first went missing? You know, have a press conference. Speak to the news. Hi, our mom's missing. We're very upset. Hearts broken, blah, blah, blah. I didn't like the IG thing. I don't know, something about that bothered me. And naturally, in this interview with Hoda, she tells us that her brother and sister condoned or okayed her verbiage in those IG videos, that they all signed on for all of that information. Some people may not believe that because it sounded scripted, possibly by the FBI. I don't know. I don't know. It's very wicked. Something else I put up on my community page. Queen, the IG was uncomfortable for me, just seemed scripted. Yes, it did. But she's saying that everything she wrote, the brother and sister signed on. But some of it resembled verbiage from Silence of the Lambs. So I don't know. But I think she should talk to the news like most people do when their relatives go missing. They go to the news, or the news comes to their home and they talk. And she's afraid to go to the news, worried about somebody following them from there, or vice versa. You know, uh, somebody coming to the house and leaking out where they were staying. You could have did a Zoom call and connected it, to the main cameras. I mean, there's always ways of doing a news interview, and that's what I would have done. Chose the news station of my choice and spoke to the news about how we felt about our mom missing. The IG videos to me were just, I didn't like that. But I figured maybe it's because they just didn't want um, to come out, because she did mention that in this video with this interview with Hoda, that they felt, pressured to stay in and not come out. Also, with all the resources they have, seems odd the silence when it's obvious they push the story into our living rooms. Hello, ma'am. It was so confusing too, because the kidnapping and the ransom going to TMZ. Well, and that's where a lot of people have a problem, because you've heard a lot of people who are in law enforcement or retired, they're just saying it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. That's not how you get money for stealing a human being. You don't go to TMZ, you don't go to the news station. That's just crazy, crazy serial killer type stupid stuff playing with, these stupid letters and stuff. I just was baffled, because I thought, where's this going? Nowhere. So that led people to believe it was not factual. It was not the actual kidnapper. You want money. You want to get this over with. You're not trying to get caught. So the more you're sending these letters to TMZ and the news stations, you're risking getting caught. It just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense at all. And now here we are, 2 months in, actually 2 months to the date, yesterday, hour ago or so. It's nothing. Now, what they have at LE, FBI, I don't know. But this is bad. This is really, really bad. And it's just hard to understand, somebody living to this age, you're almost 85, and to be hurt inside of your home by whomever, and then poof, gone. Just like that. There's no telling what she had planned to do. Get up, go to her little church group, praise the Lord, have a little lunch, and now she's gone, more than likely deceased. This is sad. I think in their notable positions, they could be more transparent, because they push the narrative to one concrete piece that Nanos' unknown location. I don't know if this is relevant, but Annie and Nancy's house taxes haven't been paid for 2025. Good Lord, Lamb, how you know that? Also, Nancy's house is in Cameron's name, but a lot of elderly people do that. Yes, and that's very interesting. Why would she put the house in his name? You must have done some digging. What about the millions missing? Okay. Well, my screen's not showing what you all are saying. What about the millions missing in the past decade? What do you mean? What millions? Oh, missing people. Well, that's why she's donated money to the Missing Persons Foundation, Savannah, because she doesn't want it to be just a focus about her mother missing. You know, you can look that up in Pima County tax site. Good God. So that's some interesting information. The house is in the son's name. Well, so this is what I've been talking about for weeks. I've been saying this for people who want to get mad at people asking what are they going to do with the house. That's just a logical question when you're looking at the situation at hand that possibly the lady is not alive. The house is going to eventually start growing weeds, so on and so forth. That's common sense. When a house is left barren, somebody has to go in and trim hedges and all that kind of stuff, bushes. Come on, you all know this. And after what has happened, do you really trust this house just sitting here all on its lonesome with all these crackpots running around filming? One guy showing up, I watched the video earlier where he's talking about he had information. He called the FBI. He's standing outside the house talking to somebody filming. And I thought, what are you doing there? Probably just out there to get attention. You don't know people. Sometimes those county tax sites are up to date, though. Well, Nanos. Arizona Desert, you know what happened. You got Arizona Desert Walker as your name. You don't know what's going on with Nanos. Lied on his resume, sweetheart. Lied on his resume that he had a lot of infractions when he was working at El Paso. In El Paso as a cop. Suspended 8 times. Was about to be fired. He did not mention any of that to Pima County, to our knowledge. If he did, they hired him anyway. Okay, she said it's up to date. Well, this goes back to what I said about that. At some point, taxes got to be paid. Tax season is upon us. For those who are homeowners, you have to pay taxes here shortly. So, exactly. And I've said that to myself. Who's going to pay the taxes on Nancy's house? Somebody also has to have access to her money if they want to go on her money and pay. So if not, that leaves good old Savannah. That's why I said there's a whole lot more to this than just, okay, somebody's missing. It's very horrible, but she has a whole house that they have just left. Cameron has left. Savannah has left. The only person left is Annie. She going to take care of the house? She going to contend to the house? I'm just saying. Who's going to be taking care of this house to make sure the grounds are kept up? The pool, are you going to cover the pool? I haven't seen that they covered the pool. They didn't put a pool cover. They didn't drain the pool. Why not? Nobody lives there. So what are they going to do with it? That's why I said it is relevant, because it's a part of everyday life. More than likely, this lady is dead. You're going to have to make a decision what to do about this house, because if nobody's going to live there, it's a recipe for disaster. It's sitting there. I would hurry up and do something with it before you have a new problem. Somebody trying to break in. Oh, well, they're due now. They're past due. Well, Dementia? What are you saying, dementia? Do I have dementia? No, I don't. We're talking about different situations simultaneously. Well, as I have said before in my lives, I can't see wanting to be at that house. For what? What would you gain by wanting to be at that house? Now I get it. People are unalive in houses all the time, and houses go up for sale, and somebody buys them, and somebody goes in, remodel, blah blah blah. But this is fresh off the press. This woman going missing. Hell no, I wouldn't want that house. And I definitely wouldn't want to be in there staying, visiting. I wouldn't feel safe because, as she said to Hoda, we don't know what happened to mom. So imagine wanting to go stay in the house. For what? And then you still got these creepy, crawly people wanting to come by and film, and you wouldn't feel safe in there. You wouldn't want to sleep in there. You wouldn't want to sit out by the pool. You wouldn't want to stay in the guest house. You wouldn't want to be in the property period because you don't know what the hell's going on until they catch the perpetrator. I wouldn't want to be there. Oh, I thought you was talking about me. I didn't know what you were saying, honey. Maybe he has dementia. Why put it on just him? Then that tells us that human. Oh, okay. Well, I sure will. You can also look up real estate transactions and deeds of trust. It's public, and he had many transactions over the years. I didn't see Tom's name anywhere. Yeah, I think they said the house was in her name. Somebody said that. Not really sure. So now we have to say this. Do you want someone looking up your property taxes? Oh, wow. Gen X now, calm down. This is true crime. This is what people do. They go look up stuff. Not saying it's right, but this is what people do. Anytime there's somebody missing, deceased, they start looking up everything about their family, their friends, who committed something, who went to jail, who's been in an institution, who went to prison, their finances. They Google the address, what the house is worth. Once you Google the address, it comes up anyway. What on Zillow? What the house is worth? Last time it was purchased. All that automatically comes up. It does come up. Oh, okay. Well, you all right. Oh, Lord. Say what's wrong with you? You having a spell. I don't know, maybe Annie's in the chat. Who knows? You all know these people do watch social media. They even like to come in people's chats sometime, infiltrating, pretending to be somebody else. That's what people do. Their little friends, their family members. Don't bother me none. This fat cat's laid back, living real good. How about that? I don't get into all these people's business, but there are people who do like looking up personal information. I rarely do it myself. Well, Lamps, like you hit a nerve, honey, with somebody. They got their panties all tied up in a knot. Walker. Yes, human nature. Very true. Like you say, you don't have to agree with it, what people do, but people do look up things. It's just what they do. Anytime there's a crime, people start looking up the address, names of names, relatives, Facebook friends. It's just what they do. I personally don't do that. I'm not getting ready to go mess with people's friends on Facebook. And, I've done it maybe once in a story to ask, the questions and stuff. But a lot of times people don't want to talk. They pick and choose who they want to talk to, which, that's understandable. But it is what it is. Can't make people talk. Can't make them tell you anything. One thing I can say is dangerous coming to YouTube. That's for sure. Because this place is wicked. The people that watch YouTube, I think a lot of people that watch YouTube aren't mentally stable. I'm just saying. They wow out. They wow out really quick. And it's just, did you hear people say, oh, I don't watch anything but YouTube? And it's like, yeah, you might want to watch some other things besides YouTube. I can honestly say, if I wasn't doing this, the only thing I'd be watching on YouTube are my little decorating videos. That's it. I would not be interested in no podcast and who's talking about who shot Roger Rabbit and all that. No. That's not my problem if anyone doesn't understand how these types of things work. Well, Venice says knowledge is power. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm not. Hell, Nanos, he might have done it. He likes shooting in the air. Ooh, Lord mercy. What a mess. Like they say, you can't please everybody. It's just the way it is. You can't please everybody. It's just crazy. But yeah, that's the only thing that got to me yesterday, or last night rather. I was in the bed watching the interview room, and then my spirit was just like, something's not right. And I was listening to that deception detective, and I just kept playing it over and over and over. And I was like, something's not right. I said, I got a feeling this girl called Savannah late. It's just something, something's not right. Something's off. 44 years ago. Good Lord. How did you know that was 44 years ago? Oh my gosh, you're killing me. Arizona Desert Walker, who are you? And I almost felt like nobody wanted to think that family was involved, understandably. Well, and that's the point, Venice. Well said. Or shall I say Bambi? You don't want to think the worst of people. And I get it. We should not assume people in the family did this. But that's usually the first person people think of. Then they work their way out, just like a detective. They start in and they work their way out. Human beings, they start in, they work their way out. We don't know them, so why wouldn't you naturally assume it was somebody in the family until it gets proven that they're not involved. So then you'll start thinking about the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Because usually people are unalived by their family. I mean, you keep hearing these uh, officials say you don't even hear of people being kidnapped. You don't hear of elderly women being kidnapped. It's just not you know, a regular occurrence. And it's not saying it can't happen. Of course, anything is possible. If a person wants to kidnap you off the street or kidnap you from work or kidnap you in your house, they will. But you just don't hear of it all the time. It's just not a regular occurrence. I mean, we hear of children being unalive and beat up, bashed up more than you hear, oh, elderly lady got kidnapped out of her house. No trace. Oh, there's a guy on the camera. And I'm going to tell you something else that a lot of you may not have thought about. They may have more information on those cameras. Let's keep it real. But the problem is, it will be a violation of Nancy Guthrie's civil rights, even if she is DEAD. It would be disrespectful to show them carrying her out. Do you see where I'm going? The family would be very pissed off if they aired that on the news. So for all we know, they've got footage of Billy Bob carrying her out of there. They just can't show it because it'd be disrespectful to her and her family. And that's going to be even more crazy if indeed they've got him taking her out of there. Sorry about that. I'm buffering. I get close to, I'm right at the router, sitting above it. It's still, whew, Jesus. Think about this. Speaking of bashed up, have you seen the first 48 hours of Investigation Skills? No. I haven't. You talking about the TV show? CBS show or what? Hold on, you guys. I got a question. Take the poll. I said unsolved, Nancy. I meant to say unalive. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you must be near my age. Who unalive? Nancy Guthrie. Take the poll. Family, 50%. Random person, 0. Known person, 50%. Only 2 people voted. Come on. 64 people watching. Y'all stop that nonsense. Well, I thought about that today too, last night. She could be alive. But why would I want you to make me bleed. I don't want to get busted up for a hoax. I can't see an older person doing that. Take the polls, everybody. And also take the polls on my community page. I've got quite a few up there from 2 days ago asking you questions about Tiger Woods, this case, Savannah Guthrie. Also, do you believe NBC used her to do the interview? Or did she ask, or did they ask? Take the poll on my community page. 71% is still saying family. 29% known person to her. 75%, Lord have mercy. Reclaimed and arrested. Oh, reclaim, please. We'll take the poll, reclaim. It's a typo. It's a typo. I meant to say unalive. Sorry about that. It still keeps coming unsolved. Maybe YouTube is not wanting me to put it. Let's see what you got. 10 people voted. 80% family. 20% known person to her. 73%. Now we've got 18% known to her. Now we got a few people jumping in on known to her. 63 people watching, and this is all I got. Come on, you guys. Take the poll. Who unalived Nancy Guthrie? You have 3 options. Family, random person, someone known to her. Who did it? Take the polls on my community page pertaining to Sheriff Nanos. Will he be voted out? Will he resign? I think he'll resign before being voted out. Also, has he committed any crimes as the sheriff or as a deputy corrections officer? Take the polls on my community page. I have a lot of questions on the community page. Let's hear what Brian Enton is talking about. He will not willingly resign. Well, he should. What fool's going to let somebody fire him? It's stupid.
In the search for Nancy Guthrie. I'm actually in the airport right now. I am on my way back to Arizona to look into a couple of new things involving the Nancy Guthrie case. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. It's actually busy in the airport, but the TSA lines, you always hear about how bad they are, but I got through really, really fast. So that was a relief. I got to the airport super early, but made it through quickly. In this episode, a couple of things. There was this deputy in Pima County who was arrested for kidnapping, actually, which is, it's a crazy story. I'm going to explain to you the circumstances in that. A lot of people are sort of thinking, could it be connected to the Nancy Guthrie case because it's a kidnapping charge? I don't think so. You'll hear why when I explain it in a second. Also, a couple of new things that Savannah Guthrie said in the Dateline episode over the weekend that I'm going to talk about. And I have my friend and retired FBI agent Steve Moore on to kind of go over some of these new things that Savannah said, and also some of what she said at the end of last week, just, you know, the back doors being propped open, Nancy not having any shoes on in the pajamas. I wanted to get his take on a lot of those things. So I'm going to get into all of it in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. Hey guys, so again, I'm in the airport, headed back to Arizona. Going to get to a couple of things here. First of all, that arrest that everybody's talking about, this deputy who was arrested in Pima County for kidnapping. Again, no indication it's connected to Nancy Guthrie at all, but just still interesting since it's a kidnapping charge.
Mr. Reynolds, this is the time for your initial appearance. You were here this morning on charges of kidnapping. That is a felony offense. You have the right to remain silent.
Okay,
Anything
hon,
you
thank
say
you.
can and will be used against you.
So his name is 22-year-old Travis Reynolds. According to an interim complaint, Reynolds was transporting a female detainee to the Pima County Jail when he allegedly made inappropriate remarks about her appearance. He allegedly shared a vape pen with the handcuffed woman and told her that he could help her with her case, and allegedly suggested that they go to a hotel and have sex.
Yes.
Detectives allege that Reynolds also showed the woman explicit videos and delayed taking her to jail. And she said that she felt intimidated. This is what prosecutors said at the hearing.
This particular offense that is alleged is very, very concerning. Given the occupation of the accused and the power dynamics between him and the victim, there's indications that this might have happened before. The victim would like to see he shouldn't be returning back to the jail or the incident location. No weapons, no contact. And the victim in this case is very afraid of this defendant because of that power position that he had, of the power dynamics, and that he might retaliate against her.
So again, on the surface level, just from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. But again, interesting, it's a kidnapping charge.
This is what I was wondering about. Could it be a law enforcement person that took her out of her house? That crossed my mind as well. And now we have this nonsense. He also has a tattoo going down his, what would that be, right arm? Which arm did you all see the tattoo of the guy on the Nest camera? He's also got the fuzz and the mustache. Who knows? Eyebrows don't look that bushy. Could this be law enforcement that went into Nancy's house? Yes, I remember Mo Wilson. Could it be law enforcement that went in Nancy's house? We do have people who work law enforcement that are sadists. They are rapists, they rob, they steal. But as I said to you all earlier, the person had a full backpack, which leads me to believe they were not going in to rob anyone. Nobody takes a full backpack to rob somebody. That's why I always say you have to pay attention to the details. We were blessed with that Nest camera footage to show that's a human meddling with this camera, didn't come prepared to spray it. He has a full backpack. He has a mask on. He's got gloves on. He also has a GUN. Where are you going with that to just ransack somebody's house and your backpack's already full? He had a kill kit in that backpack. Say, well, tools to either break in the house, or he already knew that the doors would be unlocked. If he knew that the doors would be unlocked, that means he's had access to Nancy Guthrie to know her habits. Do you mean Nanos himself or the ones under him trying to get him out? Why would you say it's him? No, I don't mean Nanos. I'm just saying it could be a deputy, could be a police officer. We do have police officers that rob people and sexually assault people. And now, as I said before, everything just seems too convenient pertaining to the information coming out pertaining to Nancy Guthrie. It's weird to me. 1 minute, weeks ago, we hear the doors were open. Now we got Savannah saying it, which somebody had to tell her that. She wasn't there when the doors were open. She don't know. She's listening to her sister and Tommaso. Then we hear She leaves her doors unlocked. How convenient is that? See, this could be actual inside job sabotage. Let me feed the public information to where it's almost like you're blaming the victim. Well, she left her doors unlocked. She must wanted somebody to come in there, a raccoon, a baboon, a two-legged creature, which common sense will tell you, you cannot leave your doors unlocked. I don't care where you live. Tucson is not safe. And anybody saying it's safe, it is not. I don't care if it was close to the border or not. It's not safe because a whole person is probably dead. So it's not safe. This person lives around that area or they travel to that area. It's not safe. So long as this person is walking around, no one is safe. So all these people talking about how they love the neighborhood, they like to walk at night and stargaze. They got Kohlberger syndrome. Honey, you better get a girl because there's a mad person walking amongst you. And this person is violent. They put their hands on an old person. Come on, the woman's almost 100 years old. Who beats up an old person?
Interesting that you've got a Pima County deputy who would do something like this allegedly. So I'll stay on top of it, but wanted to get you guys updated on that. Also, you guys remember there was the Savannah Guthrie interview at the end of last week.
I don't know.
On the Today Show.
He might be.
My episode this weekend where there was more of the interview that was aired. I wanted to give you guys some of the highlights. She talked a lot about her sister Annie and her brother-in-law Tommaso, and how her mom Nancy wanted to remain independent. And one thing that was comforting is that Annie and Tommaso lived so close to Nancy that they were able to keep an eye on her and look after her. She said that no one took better care of my mom than my sister and brother-in-law, which I thought was really interesting. Just because obviously there's been all these rumors and speculation about is a family member possibly involved, and it seems like she's really gone out of her way to defend, especially her brother-in-law, saying that no one took better care of Nancy than her sister and her brother-in-law Tommaso. She also said that Annie, and she calls him Tommy, Tommaso Tommy, made it possible for Nancy to stay in the house that she loved because they were close to her. They let her have her space, but obviously Vegas lived like 10 minutes away. So it sounds like they were really the primary ones, just because they were so close, who kept.
Thank you, Brian. Because sometimes I forget information. 10 minutes away, and you didn't get there until 11:56. And a woman called you at about 11:10 a.m., church member. 46 minutes. Stay woke, everybody. They made it possible for her to live in her house, but yet she's missing. And it's taking you damn near 50 minutes to get to her house. I'm woke. Oh, the doors were open. That's why I asked the question in my last live. Was this a staged crime scene? Let's open the doors. Let's open the roof. Let's make it look like the coyotes and donkeys and everybody else just came running in. Think about that for just a second. Doors open. Living in the middle of the damn desert. Doors unlocked. 1 hour from the border. So anything with 2 feet and 4 feet could have come on in there. Nano's grandparents immigrated from Greece to Connecticut, Texas, Arizona. Why would media and press conference make article him versus where is Nancy Strange? Girl, this is what people do. They always dig in people's lives. Once they bring up anything about you, this is what people do. They go all the way back to when you were born, where you were born, who your mom and dad is. This is what they do. Just like y'all looking up taxes, tax reports, and tax papers. That's what people do. 10 minutes away. I want everybody to think about that. 10 minutes away. Ten minutes away. And that woman called after 11 o'clock, a little bit after 11. Why did it take you all so long to get over there? Now they're showing this law and crime, Florida couple's home invasion murder caught on camera. Lord, I don't want to look at that. Looking at these blood spots on the concrete. TMZ uploaded 4 days ago. Round spots. Then there's a big spot in the middle, in between the spots. What if she was shot? This person got tired. She was wailing and hollering and screaming. Did they have duct tape over her mouth, gag in her mouth? What? Or she was already shot. But Banfield says everything looked clean in the house, except for right there at the entry. So obviously, as I said, she knew she was taking the death walk. That's probably when she started wilding out, and they hit her, punched her, or shot her. It's a very wicked story. And then, as I said in my live, the last live, I said, was it worth it? Yes, I'm talking to you, the perpetrator. I know you're listening out there. You don't have anything better to do with your time. You're probably watching YouTube. You're probably driven by Nancy's house. You probably sent somebody over there. I got a feeling you're going to do a repeat if you haven't done it already. And Nanos, you ought to be ashamed of yourself because you should have been told the world to beware of the boogeyman. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter the motive and who did it. The point is, more than likely, this lady is dead. So therefore, we have us a Killer walking around. Checkmate. So everybody should be scared. And I won't doubt he lives with somebody that has children. He's an alcoholic or a crackhead. He gets high. Yes, he does. He's violent. Yes, he does. He pops off. Yes, he does. He's had an attitude. Might be ready for a repeat. So, Nanos, you should have been said something day one when you saw the blood in the house, or you got a report that there was blood in the entry and outside. Okay, I need to tell the citizens of Tucson to lock their doors. No more leaving your doors unlocked. No more stargazing. Walking at night and walking your dogs at night. And now they don't even know about that photo still of him without the backpack, if that's even February 11th or not, or January 11th. What do you all know? Because Nanos being the messenger is no good. So I'd rather hear from somebody that has real knowledge of the case and they can stand on what you all actually have without retracting information. Enough is enough. Tell us the truth on something. I get it, you can't tell us everything. This man can't be trusted. He's transparent. Yeah, the same man who was suspended 8 times and lied to get a job in Arizona. And one thing I've learned about life, if you lie about one thing, you'll lie about another. And I won't doubt you've done some dirty things at Pima County. I don't trust you. And I think he needs to be investigated, Sheriff Nanos. And he does not need to be talking about true crime or any other type of crime. He needs to go somewhere and get an umbrella and a margarita and lie in the sun somewhere and continue getting a suntan. Let it go. And why do they keep Annie and Tomas' car so long in evidence? Well, I'm not touching your comments. I'm just reading. Unless one of the mods erased them. And I didn't see any mods in here. Well, Phoenix, I don't know. She was at their house. She was in their car allegedly. They dropped her off. They have every right to search the car. The very reason they were at their house, taking pictures in the dark, bringing out paper sacks, which I find interesting because what do you have to bring out in a paper sack if there's no evidence? What was it that they brought out of A&T's home? Very interesting. What did they bring out? I don't know. Anything found in the car? Well, they didn't do it. They passed the polygraph. Allegedly, the car had to be, some internal stuff allegedly had to be put back together. I don't know how true that is. But just imagine getting your car back and it doesn't even work right because they had to go in there and redo some stuff, send it to a mechanic shop to get it put back right mechanically, probably the dashboard or something. Because, naturally, you're not supposed to be messing with that stuff anyway, unless you got something wrong with your car. And who knows, she gets the car back and probably won't even operate properly. Casualty of war. What is everybody going to do? I'm going to say this, I'm going to check out of here. What's the end game pertaining to this case? Are they going to keep the house or are they going to sell the house? If it's Cameron's house, he'll probably keep it. Why? I don't know, but I wouldn't. What good are the memories you have versus what has happened to your mom? Just keeping it real. Your mom was hurt in this house, so you weigh that versus the memories you had as a kid. I say your mother being hurt would weigh heavier than any good memory you had living at that address. Who could go back there and live? I would be scared shitless to go back to that house for any reason. I also heard Nancy Grace say they were taking boxes out the other day. So I don't know if they are taking, if it was law officials or it's the family getting, important documents or valuables. It's amazing how Nancy Grace keeps getting all this information, her and Ashley Banfield. But Nanos and the sheriff department, they're not telling us nothing, or the FBI. Never heard about the dogs picking up on anything. It's all weird. Search didn't go long as if you knew the woman was dead. And now I think about this. Everybody's been judging Nanos and the sheriff department for the search on the house, the crime scene, and it ending within 2 days. The forensic work. Maybe Ashley Banfield, her source, is telling the truth about it being a clean crime scene except for the entryway and outside. And that's why the sheriff's department didn't do a long-winded sweep of the house because nothing looked out of place. That would make sense. I thought about that day for yesterday. I said, maybe whoever's talking to Banfield, they're on to something. They know something. Because everybody kept saying, oh my gosh, they didn't do they didn't search the house a long time and do forensics and blah, blah, blah. Then 2 days they shut it down, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's why. Because when they got there, all they saw was the walkway outside the front door, down to the drive, had blood, and then inside of the entry was blood, but there was nothing else suspicious in Nancy's house, such as her bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, den, so on and so forth. Guest house, nothing was out of place, nothing broken, nothing turned over. Because think about it, she's 5'2", 5'4", or was. She couldn't fight off some guy 5'9", 6 feet tall. She couldn't fight off a bigger guy. We already saw he had a little bit of stomach on him. Looked like he had some legs, thighs, and was wide on the bottom. So what was she getting ready to do with this guy? Nothing. Nothing. So maybe that's why they didn't, stay at her house long, the sheriff's office. Because when they got there, that's all they saw was what was outside the front door and in the entry. But other than that, everything else looked okay. The entry looked okay. I mean, the inside, like the bedroom, those rooms. But like I said before, you should have checked the cupboards to see if somebody drunk out of a cup and put it right back in without washing it. Drinking from her milk jug, orange juice jug, used the bathroom, sink, shower. You never know what crazy people do when they're in your house alone and unattended. Were all her bedding intact? How did the bedding look? All pillows? Were all the sheets and pillows matching? Was anything in the washing machine, the dryer? Those are questions that should have been asked. Or, investigated. Because next they're not going to tell us all that, but I'm just wondering how all that looked. Her bedroom, the Apple Watch, where was it? On a dresser, on a nightstand. Now, no shoes. How do you know she didn't have any shoes on? Does she normally go barefoot in the house? Or do she wear slippers, house shoes? Were the house shoes sitting by the bed? How would you know what she would wear at night? As far as night clothes, how would you know? You didn't see her putting night clothes on. Does she normally sleep in her bed? Does she sleep in a rocking chair, like a recliner? Some elderly people, they sleep in, recliners sometimes. Fall asleep by the TV playing in a living room, den. Did she normally leave her doors unlocked? Because that's a problem for me. There's no way I'm going to live anywhere and just assume it is safe for me to leave my doors unlocked. There is no way. There's no way I'm going to get that comfortable and leave my doors unlocked. I thought there was a report early on that the comforter was missing, not sure. Well, I haven't heard anything, Irony. How are you? I haven't heard anything about the house as far as from law enforcement because they're not talking. All I know is about the Nest camera and the video of the guy walking up to it, and allegedly something in the back was messed with, one of the cameras back there. I always thought it was the camera up front. I thought she had a camera up front, but then they said no, it was a camera in the back. And then they made it sound like it was on the guest house. So I thought, wait a minute, she ought to have more cameras than that. She should have had a camera on the top of the building. She should have had a camera on each side of the buildings. She should have had a camera at the back on the top, facing the pool, and then have cameras on the guest house. Because you want to have every angle. Because a person can come from either direction to enter on your property. So you don't want to have just a camera over here, but then don't have a camera on the other side. Then, of course, she had a garage. So wouldn't it make sense to have cameras facing the garage? It's almost like, seriously, when you think about it, it seems too convenient. Everything you ask a question about pertaining to this woman's house, it's just convenient that you only got him walking up to it, messing with the camera, but they didn't tell you they saw him entering in the back or seen on camera going in the back. Then we hear that her doors were propped open. Then we hear that she didn't lock her doors. Then you don't know where else she had cameras on the property to get any information from there. Then conveniently, she doesn't have a subscription, which defeats the purpose of the damn cameras. Then she didn't have an alarm, which defeats the purpose of having cameras. Then we hear she had cameras on the inside, but you haven't heard or seen any footage of this boogeyman inside of the house. Tire tracks, very good point. Police were up there gangster style. You done drove over the damn tire tracks. Hello, anybody listening? Everything is too convenient. And it's only convenient when it's somebody who knows the victim. Think about it. You don't find all this recent information bizarre and convenient with this interview with Savannah. It's something ain't right. It just ain't right. Oh, we leave our doors unlocked. Oh, we like to stargaze out here. Oh, we walk the dog and jog in the dark. Nobody locks their doors. Oh, her doors were propped open. And then all you have to do is ask one question. Who told you that information? Exactly. Who's the messenger of her doors being propped open? Who is the messenger that told you she don't lock her doors? I just want you to think about all of that information from day one up until now, Monday, and make it make sense. 84-year-old woman wants to have her freedom. She doesn't have a life alert necklace. She don't have an alarm. She don't have a subscription to a damn cameras, which defeats the purpose of the cameras if they don't record. Doors unlocked, doors propped open, and no new video footage of this person coming out of the property with the victim, hanging around the property. You tell us you got video of somebody on the property 3 days beforehand, a few people. You won't tell us who those people are. This shit is whack to me. Oh, we got video footage of some people on the property. Who are they? You know, who is it? Mickey Mouse, Tiny Tim? Who we talking about? Black, white, tall, short, fat, what? Nothing. Don't even tell you the time of day. Oh, it was morning, it was afternoon, it was nighttime, it was wee hours. So we just sit here and we just guess. I wouldn't tell people anything if I couldn't give them at least some type of description to say, hey, we saw some people. It was a guy, it was a girl, it was two ladies, it was one guy. They were young, they were older, they were middle-aged. It was afternoon, it was morning. They don't even tell us what time it was. So it's like, well, why don't you tell us anything? And as I told you all before, if indeed they looked up and got footage of him coming out of the house with Nancy Guthrie, they are not going to show that. Because that would be devastating to the family to see her coming out bloody, either by wrapped up tarp, rug, over the shoulder, drug out. They wouldn't show that. I'm going to go. I want to thank you all for following this network. Follow me on the Newsbreak app. I give commentary over there by video and posts. Follow me on IG, big.sexy.71. Follow me here on YouTube. Drop your comments below this video. Take the polls on my community page. Feel free to comment over there. Give suggestions for upcoming commentary or content. Take the polls on my community page. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time and listening to the Queen in this early morning. You all have a wonderful week. God bless you. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind the children. I'll be bringing you stories of missing people here in East Tennessee. And the first person I'm going to talk about this week is Chad Carr. He's an African-American male who went missing from a halfway house in Clinton, Tennessee. I do believe that he was unalived by his housemates. I ended up talking to his sister when he first went missing, and she was on the phone with Chad when the line went dead, and he has never been heard from since. I went out there to the halfway house to film. Check out my earlier videos from 2021 where the Queen goes out to the country, and I had a very just sick feeling when I went out there. And when you watch the video, you can tell that I wasn't right when I was filming. There was one point when I missed my turn, and I was deep in the holler, and I was up on a ridge. I damn near passed out behind the wheel because literally the hair on my skin was standing up because I can't explain it. It was just a scary feeling of being up on this ridge, and it was like one way in. There was no way for a car to pass me. If a car was coming toward me, I would have fell off a cliff. It was horrible. And I told myself, we ain't doing this again. But it was just an eerie feeling being back there thinking he possibly could have been thrown back up in there where I was. And I know those guys know what happened to him. And as I shared with you all so many times on this network, I ended up speaking to somebody who was staying there at the halfway house. And he knows what happened because when I asked him about Chad Carr, he asked me to describe him. And when I did, he hung up and he blocked me. So that told me everything I needed to know. He knew exactly who he was, and he probably had something to do with it as well. And to this day, nobody talks about Chad Carr. I haven't heard any news stories. Dateline did a special. They came here to Tennessee to talk to his sister and his mother. His mother is no longer alive. God rest her soul. But the Queen did try reaching out to authorities last year to see where the investigation was going, and naturally, nobody could give me any information because I wasn't his relative. And TBI said they couldn't intervene because they weren't asked to help investigate the case. And so he's one of the most, one of the unfortunate ones of somebody going missing and just really just a number. But he mattered to somebody. He also is a father of a boy child. So he mattered to somebody. So Nancy Guthrie, wherever she is, she's a very fortunate person to the degree somebody cares enough to talk about her. She may be unalive, but her name is out there. There's content about her every day. There's news content about her every day. There are other people out here, they are not that fortunate. Nobody's making live streams about them every day. News stories every day. So sadly, if she is no longer with us, her name is still out here. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. I will post a movie of the week later today for your enjoyment. Go to my community page. I bring you updates to breaking news, polls, movie selections. Whatever I come up with, I post it to my community page. Thank you for your time. God bless all of you. You have been listening to the Vault XL.